Oh man, did you hear the computer there for a second? The computer went like when that happened. I don't know what
We're
that was
doing
all
this
about.
again?
Hmm?
The computer's like, we're doing this again?
Yeah, it wasn't happy. Hey everybody. How's it glowing?
Don't think I'll get that one.
Continue game. With waffles drive upon. Okay, I would like to get a long job. Has anyone played this game can tell me how I can get a long haul job where I have to stop at a gas station? Complete World of Trucks delivery contracts using your own equipment. Alright, that's what I want to do. I want to do... Do I have to buy a truck? Oh, we're gonna buy a truck. Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's buy a truck in Brussels. Alright, here we go. Buy online. Visit selected dealer. That we're gonna buy a truck online on Amazon. This feature is trusted customer. Do you think it's Prime?
If it's not Prime, you
Don't spend a dime. That's the rule, yeah. If it's not Prime, that's rule number 2 of the Salvager code, of the Dragon code. If it's not Prime, you don't spend
rule
it.
number 3.
What's rule number 2?
Don't take off your nappy.
Don't take off your nappy. Okay, rule number 3 is... Rule number 1 is don't be dumb.
Yeah.
Rule number 2 is don't take off your nappy.
Rule
number 3 of the Dragon Code is if it's not Prime, you don't spend a dime.
Exactly. You
Okay.
got it.
Okay. Fuck. Okay, let's visit selected dealer then. Do you really want to travel to Brussels and visit the... Okay, do I have enough money to get a truck? I'm gonna say no. Right? There's no way I can buy a truck for 28,000 euros. Although, then again, like the economy's in the toilet, maybe? Who knows? List price... Yeah, we're not even close. Alright. That's the cheapest one. Alright, we're gonna be doing a lot of goddamn fucking hauls then. Before we can get our own truck. I'm sad. So how's everyone doing? So all this time we've been crashing other people's trucks. Oh no. Oh no. I'm all fired up. That code sounds like a joke, but it's actually an elaborate setup to make some merchandise, like a t-shirt with the code written on it several months down the line. You think so? I'm really flattered that you think that we're capable of planning that far ahead. I'm really flattered. I can't even drive a truck. I was thinking about if we ever do merchandise because a couple of people have asked, and I don't know when we'll do it. If we do, it won't be for a while. Maybe some t-shirts or something, or like a mug. And I think I can't remember who I was talking to. It might have been Ralph Clogs on Discord, and I really think that I should find a way to get a statue as part of the merch, and I can actually say for real, buy my fucking statue. That would amuse me greatly. So I think that maybe that's a thing that should happen. No one will buy it. And only like a couple hundred people from the Reciteer streams will get the joke, but it will amuse me enough that that I will want to do it.
Some of them would buy your statue, and some would like a dragon plushie.
A dragon plushie? Wow, we'd have to get it designed. I don't know if I own the design of the dragon that's on the new Wizard and the Dragon cover, which is where the new avatar is going to come from. If you've been on Discord and it was my avatar before this one, the orange dragon, because the dragon that's on the YouTube channel is royalty free stock art. But the dragon that was on Discord a little while ago before the cool drug dealer Joe took over, that was a commissioned art piece I did last year. So that cover is wholly original. What's going on?
Don't underestimate all the dumb shit I would do with my money.
So there's that. But I don't think I own the complete rights to that. I'd have to talk to the guy who drew it and say, hey, we want to make a plushie designed on this one. But I don't think that would make a good plushie. So I think it would be a different kind of plushie. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, L120 writer, if you're tired, you don't have to stay. It's fine. We're late tonight. It's almost 2 a.m. here already, and we haven't even started yet. So we're gonna be here for a while. So we don't want to keep you up if you can't do it. Andy, I hope you're feeling better. I saw that you've been sick and you've been bedridden, you said. So I hope you're doing much better.
Yeah, it's important that we get the Q&A done for multiple reasons. The first is that we're so behind on it because of the move. But the other reason is that to stream during the day, I have to move the computer upstairs. And did I just mess up? No, we're good. I have to move the computer upstairs. And if I move the computer upstairs, we can't stream at night anymore because it will be right next to the kids' room. So yeah. So I don't want to be moving the computer up and downstairs all the time. So it's important that we get it done so I can start streaming during the day. However, even if we had got it done last night, we couldn't have streamed today because there was crazy thunderstorms here today, right, Lily? Like,
yeah,
holy
it was really
shit.
bad today, and then it was twice.
Yeah, and
it really hurt twice.
And I couldn't bring my UPS from Toronto. If anyone doesn't know what a UPS is, I'm guessing most people do. A UPS is an uninterruptible or uninterrupted power supply, big battery for your PC, that if you get hit by a power outage, the PC won't turn off. So it's to save the hardware, and it's also to save any work that you're doing. And I need to order another one of them, and I just remembered that. So that's oh man, we're spending so much goddamn money replacing shit right now. Fucking hell. So yeah, that I'll have to get another one of those. But yeah, so I had to leave the computer unplugged all day today because I didn't want a lightning strike knocking it out because the chances are so low. But if the computer gets bricked, that's a lot of money and potentially a lot of work down the toilet too. So yeah.
We're in New Brunswick, not Ottawa.
We're not in Ottawa. We're in Moncton in New Brunswick. We lived in Toronto before, but yeah, there was massive thunderstorms here in Moncton today. Crazy thunderstorms too. There was a thunderstorm last week too, and we heard this massive, like boom of thunder.
It was really, really loud.
Hold on, if the speed limit is 90 and I'm going 90, how are these assholes passing me? Yeah, anyway, we heard this we saw this flash outside, and this massive boom of thunder came out from nearby, and we're like, oh man, and the lights flickered for a little bit, but we were okay. And then I looked online a couple days later, and apparently it hit a house a couple streets over and set the outside of it on fire, and a few people had to get evacuated. And it was like, oh shit, you know, that was pretty bad.
Good night, L120 writer. Have a good night. Bridge Builder wanted to know if you're taking questions that were submitted yesterday.
On the Q&A?
Yeah, I believe so.
Are you the person that I just sent over through Discord?
Maybe.
Did you ask about if I wanted to make a game, what would I make the game on, and what's the stream schedule going to be? Are you that person? Because if that's the case, then yeah, we were taking the question. Normally we don't, but because the Q&A has been delayed and we skipped a month, if anyone asked a question last night, then we're going to take it.
This is God telling you, fuck New Brunswick. I heard it's kind of common and you get used to it. Oh, Bridge Builder's Micah?
Bridge Builder Micah? Yeah, we're taking your question. Yeah. Micah.
Thank you for that, by the way. I love you. Keep doing it. Always do that. Always.
Thank you, Mika.
Even if you think, oh, she must know how to say it by now. No. Do it anyway.
Yeah, we're taking your question, yeah. But talking about the statue again for just briefly, because that's important. Right now, Nick is working on a Reciteer highlight, and I think he's almost done. So maybe more people will see the "buy my fucking statue" meme. So we'll see. I haven't seen a cut of it yet, so I hope it's good. Last two were good, so I don't see why it shouldn't be. But yeah, I think that might have been the funniest stream in terms of how condensed it was, you know? The funniest stream overall is probably Persona 5. Maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Haltfire says, I sent you guys a link for a possible statue source. Keep me updated. Are you going to do body pillows?
No. But body sleeves, maybe, so you can put it over your own body pillow. I'm trying to drive a little better. I wasn't really trying last time. He says as he almost crashes into a car.
So, a couple of thank yous. And I love this one. Thank you to Rabbit of Doom.
Rabbit of Doom, thank you.
Who resubscribed for 2 months with Prime and says, I'd buy your statue. Thank you to Red Hippiastrum, who resubscribed for 9 months and says, tell me a dad joke, will you? No shih tzu, please, thank you.
Well, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you can have my hot off the presses reposted onto Reddit R jokes. A dad joke. You ready? You ready? 2 Canadian bodybuilders. 2 Canadian bodybuilders were working out at the gym. Afterwards, they're in the locker room sitting together. One turns to the other and says, I'm sorry. And the other one says, what for? Yeah, I know this may be hard to believe. Okay, this may be hard to believe, but I promise I'm telling the truth. I made that joke up, completely wholesale, whole cloth. That is a 100% original joke. I know it's hard to believe that
Something of that quality.
That quality can come out of me. You know what I mean? But yeah, I made that joke up all on my own.
This is why I'm with him, in case anybody wasn't sure.
The original jokes?
You might think it's the videos, you know, or the streaming, or, you know, I don't know.
The penis.
The penis. It's the jokes.
"60 kilometers an hour is so slow." What was the joke? Someone type it out. It's on Twitter right now. If you go to my Twitter, it's the 2 tweets back, I think, and you can read it. I think it works better written out than it does spoken aloud.
Even before he was a dad, he told dad jokes.
Mm-hmm.
18-year-old Joe told dad jokes.
Do you think maybe there's like a kid I don't know about somewhere out there then?
I don't know.
Maybe that's scary.
I was thanking people before that. Where am I? Thank you to Floyd Doshia, who resubscribed with Prime for 7 months and says, if only Twitch Prime could auto-resub for the sake of us lazy people.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine who was complaining about that. He said, you know, here, you know, I don't use my sub for anything, and you're streaming, so here you can have it. And he was complaining that there's no way to do it automatically. Yeah, I don't know why there isn't. Maybe they want you to, because it's free. Maybe they want you to show some engagement to the platform or something. I don't know. Maybe, not sure. But thank you very much for the resub. Thank you for going to the trouble.
Yeah, we met in high school, and Joe is older, even though he loves to tell me right now that we are the same age.
Same age.
Same age for a few months, but he's still older. He will always be older.
I'm 85. She's 86. The year that we were born. I'm 33 this year. She's 32. She just turned
Barely
32 on the 4th.
Almost doesn't count.
Practically 20 still.
Thank you to... Wow. Thank you to Sirs Plexiest. Sirs Plexiest, not sure. Has resubscribed for 7 months and says, oh boy.
Oh boy. Okay, oh boy, thank you.
Thank you to Phantom Claus, who resubscribed with the Prime for 8 months and says the first rule of the Anderson's Code, being dumb, not a good rule of thumb. Judging games is art, and now that's pretty smart.
That's pretty good.
I send some dad jokes in your future.
Mm-hmm. How many kids do you have? Do you think the more kids you have, the more dad jokes you get?
I do.
It builds?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know. I think you've gotten better at them since Leo was born, so there must be a correlation, right? Thank you to Spagmo, who resubscribed for 8 months.
Thank you very much.
Already? I don't think so. Thank you to Nico Delic, who resubscribed for 4 months.
Nico Delic. How's it going, Nico Delic?
Thank you to His Name is Colin, who subscribed with Prime.
Is it Neko Delic?
It might be Neko. I don't want to say Nico, but maybe it is Neko. Sorry if it's Neko.
Isn't Neko cat?
I don't know.
In Weebanese? I don't know. Messed up that term there, but we didn't get fined. That's okay. Who was after Nico Delic?
His name is Colin.
His name is Colin? But what's his Twitch name?
That's the Twitch name?
His name is Colin?
It's all one word.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Taco Waveable, who resubscribed with Prime for 8 months and says, I can only assume the truck is full of statues.
I always think of putting a taco in the microwave every single time. Thank you, Taco Waveable. What are we hauling? Maybe it's full of statues.
Thank you to Micrologist, who resubscribed with Prime for 2 months and says 6:43 a.m. in Europe, didn't want to sleep anyway.
Damn. You should have slept already and you should be getting up. That's really late. That's like a me level of bullshit there for sleeping.
Fluxon says, Lily, stop him quick. He is so lame that more kids will cause a dad joke singularity that will consume time and space. Don't over Daddy Joe or we are all doomed. What if it's twins?
Oh no.
What happens then? Does everything just implode, or what happens then? That's a lot of dad all in one shot.
Do you think all the really bad jokes would puncture the space-time continuum? I wonder if our statue that we sell should actually be chocolate with a gold wrapper to make it look like a statue.
Ooh.
That would be good.
Then you could eat it.
That'd be good chocolate. How would you do that?
Befriend someone who does desserts.
Limited run.
Thank you to Roll Dodge, who resubscribed for 8 months and says yay.
Okay, thank you, Roll Dodge.
Thank you to Railstone, who resubscribed for 8 months and says happy to see you back streaming.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back. I'm hoping to stream at a regular time tomorrow, but who knows if that's going to happen, but it should be soon. I have a second monitor. It arrived. So in case people don't know, actually, how would people know? Because it's only a few people on Discord that know about this. I'll tell the story, and then we should probably start answering the questions on Patreon. So there are 12 boxes didn't arrive yet. And the 12 boxes contain Lily's computer, some photo albums with photos of the kids, including Finn's first or second picture with Santa Claus. We take him to the mall Santa thing, which is kind of cheesy, but that's what we like because we're white. And monitor, my old monitor.
My laptop.
Your Lily's old laptop before she got my old computer. And
it's old, but it's still pink.
A bunch of like cosmetics that Lily had, like
shoes, kid shoes.
Yeah, and the 100K silver sub button from YouTube. That and among kids' toys and clothes in these 12 boxes. We can't remember exactly what's in all of them, but those are the big important things. And so we were expecting them to arrive on Wednesday or Thursday of this week, and they weren't here. And on Thursday, I'm trying to get some sleep because I haven't been sleeping very well at all since we got to Moncton. So I'm having a nap upstairs, and there's a knock on the door, and then Lily comes up and hands me this letter that's come through express post through Canada Post, and it's a letter from the very very oh crap oh no. All right, back up. Beep, beep. It's the letter from the very very nice people who run the post office that I shipped everything from, and I say nice because I actually ran out of time to ship everything, and they stayed open 10 minutes later than they should have to allow me to to finish shipping the boxes over. And if they hadn't done that, I would have had to pay for an extension on the plane ticket and just to ship the last 2 boxes that I had. So they're very, very nice. Anyway, so apparently they send this letter and they say the boxes were shipped out, and then they came back because the postman found that bugs were crawling out of the boxes. Keep in mind that we shipped about 40 to 50 boxes, and 38 of them are here already. And there were no bugs, nothing. But apparently there were bugs crawling out of these 12 boxes. So they got sent back, and they tried to be put back into the apartment building we were living at before, and the landlord, so lovely of them, declined to accept them, even though we still have a lease on that apartment.
We technically live there until the end of July.
we still have the lease active on until August, and they rejected the boxes, so they went back to the post office where I sent them, and he said, I don't have a phone number to contact you, so I sent this through express post, next day delivery, and there's a picture of the boxes sitting in his post office, and he's like, here's the options that we can do. You have to fly here and clean them, empty them all out and clean them, or you can try and see if UPS will pick them up and send them instead, because they have less standards than Canada Post, or you can abandon them. And it said, you have 2 weeks to get them before Canada Post will dispose of them. And I'm staring at it and I'm going, are you fucking serious? Like, if you read the story on Patreon, it's like that. It's like part 2 just keeps going. The shower had burst open in the back of the wall and leaked water down from the ceiling while we were here. It's just nonstop bullshit getting anyone to do anything here in Moncton.
We've contacted 4 different types of workers to do work here, and nobody has called us back.
They don't call back. We wanted to install some doors here.
Nothing.
Yeah, we wanted to install some doors inside, so like advanced baby gates. Remember we had to cancel streams before because the Finn is just Houdini for baby gates. Well, we decided that we're wasting so much money buying these different baby gates. Let's get a professional in who will install a proper door that he can't get through, a Dutch style door, if you know what that is. It's like cut horizontally, so you can't get through. And the guy here took measurements. He's like, okay, we'll have a quote for you tomorrow. And then it's been a week and there's still no quote, so I have to call them back and say, hey, what the hell's going on? Now it may seem like, okay, you should just call them back and harass them a bit, Joe, but I mean, like, seriously, it's been 4 or 5 different ones have been like that. They just don't want to take anything. And now this is the next step in the continuing story, that is this move to Moncton that keeps going, things going wrong. So there's bugs coming out of the boxes. I'm like, there were no bugs. Like, I didn't see any bugs. These 12 boxes are the last ones I packed. There are no bugs.
Food or anything either.
There's nothing in them. Like what?
We didn't have bugs in the apartment.
Yeah. What kind of bugs could there possibly be? So I call, and I say, hey, can I speak to the guy who runs the post office? And they're like, oh, he's not here right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, when will he be in? And they say, well, he won't be in until much, much later. I said, okay, well, I need to deal with this right now because I'm going to have to fly back to Toronto. So I say, hey, I got this letter. And it's like, yeah. And they say, okay. And I give them my name. And I go through and I tell them, I read that letter. And they're like, oh, don't worry. They left already. And I said, what? And it's like, yeah, they went out. And I said, yeah, but then they came back because of the bugs, right? And they're like, no, they went out yesterday. And I'm like, what do you mean they went out yesterday? He's like, yeah, there's no problem. Don't worry about it. It's all solved. And I'm looking at the letter, and I'm like looking at them through the phone, and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, don't worry. I'm like, okay, well, can I give you my number and email address, and you can get the guy to call me back so I can figure out what's going on, because I feel like you don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say that, but that was what's going on in my head. And like, yeah, sure. So a few hours later, the guy finally calls me, and he's like, yeah, like they picked them up today. Simple cleaning fixed it. I'm like, what do you mean simple cleaning? And he's like, I just wiped the outside of the boxes a little bit, and then they accepted them. So don't worry. Like, what? Were there bugs? What happened? Did you? And I tracked the packages, and apparently they never ever left the post office. So I'm curious if maybe I can't do the backup one because I'm so bad. I wonder if maybe they forgot about them, and this is just some elaborate fucking story to not admit that they didn't ship them out for a week. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And someone in the chat is saying, I guess the guys in the post office are the ones that. But yeah, maybe. Even in real life, I encounter bugs. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so apparently they should be here on Monday or Tuesday. We'll see.
We hope.
Yeah, so that's what happened. Anyway, so yeah, I got a second monitor in the mail though. We ordered one from Amazon with Amazon Prime, or else you don't spend a dime. And we got it here, and I was setting it up earlier. It was a cheap monitor just to read chat, and I'm setting it up, and I realized that we because you don't think of these things after you move. We don't have any power bars or extensions or things that allow you to plug more than one thing into one socket. So I'm setting it all up, and I realized that I have nowhere to fucking plug it in. So I assembled this monitor, had it on the desk, and I was like, okay, here we go. I can read chat that's not on a goddamn fucking tablet tonight, which I'm doing right now. And I'm like, oh no. So yeah, there's more outlets in the room upstairs, so that'll be fine. But yeah, that went on today. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the packages. I'm just really relieved that I don't have to fly back to Toronto, because that's a whole day. I still might, it's like they still might get rejected somewhere if there are actually bugs. But if there are bugs, my guess is that they actually came from the post office. What did I not have right away here? What's going on? I'm a truck. The roads were made for me.
Yeah, we're gonna learn how to drive.
Yeah,
we're not.
Yeah.
And we're in a city, so we're not terribly cut off from things. But it still is like a 20-minute walk to the groceries, and then a 20-minute walk back. And in the winter, that's going to be hell. So.
And it would be really good if we could take advantage of a Costco membership, right, and buy things in bulk, because the kids.
And with having kids, it would be nice if you could just put them in the car and go instead of fussing with double strollers and ramps and other stairs and all that other shit that comes with that.
The kids are like fish that live in chocolate milk. So we need to get that sorted. Like buy in bulk chocolate milk. How much chocolate milk can you legally sell to me? Is how much we need. Is F indicating, or because they're both on? How do you do that? Oh, we left without a full tank of gas. What's that all about? Oh, are trucks so heavy that the amount of fuel that they carry is that they try and give you the only amount of fuel that you need to finish the job? Because they don't want to carry that weight around? Sort of like planes do, right?
Buses here don't seem that reliable, so I don't know if that would even be an option.
Oh shit, I turned the car off.
The outlets actually aren't grounded. We need to get an electrician in here to deal with that. If they would call us back, they called and said they were coming the next day and coming after dinner, and they just never called or showed up, and that was more than a week ago. So
Yep. And
we waited around and nothing happened.
The electrician's name was Wally too, so we had the great moment of saying, "Where's Wally?" Wally said he was gonna be here. Where's Wally?
That was great. I love that. That almost made it worth it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like they're not grounded. Some of them are not. It's not like we have a stovetop plugged into an ungrounded outlet, but some of them aren't. Yeah. We don't like that. There's it's an old house. It has some problems.
Thank you to Laku Makara, who resubscribed for 8 months and says, "Hi, Joe and Lily."
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
That's how Finn says it, in case you're wondering. Thank you to Roxanne Mixtape, who used 100 bits.
Roxanne.
Thank you to DPZ2, who subscribed, with Prime. New sub.
He subscribed?
Subscribed. I was going to say resubscribed, but I'm lying. Thank you to Pivkill Fish, who subscribed also.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to Tim Lord of Biscuits, who subscribed.
What kind of biscuits?
Are they shortbread? I was having a shortbread one.
All biscuits?
Right before the stream, and it was very.
Okay,
very
so most people in chat aren't gonna know. Well, it's kind of late, so maybe people in Britain are watching. And this is gonna sound dumb because of the name. If you don't know what they are, Lily, I direct this question to you.
Uh-oh.
Are Jaffa Cakes biscuits?
Yes.
State your case.
I would say they are a chocolate-covered, orange-flavored biscuit because of the texture of the crunch to the biscuit itself. It's not really a crumbly cookie. It is more of a like a shavings when you chew it biscuit.
I counter that a biscuit has to be hard. You cannot have a soft
I've never had
biscuit.
a soft biscuit, so I will agree to this.
Jaffa cakes are soft. I think a biscuit has to be hard.
They're saying cakes. Donut sandwich is saying cakes. How are they cakes when they're that hard? They're crunchy.
I don't know. It can't be a cake because a cupcake has the cup in front of it. A cupcake is not a cake. It's a cupcake. That's important. No one says, do you want some cake? If someone said to you, hey, do you want some cake? And you said yes, and then they give you a cupcake, you're going to look at them like, okay, I have to get you committed. That's it's not allowed.
Blaze, it's in the name Jaffa Cake.
That's why I said, if you don't know what they are, you're going to think that, but maybe you do know what they are.
Halt Fire says cookies.
Oh, what's a cookie versus a biscuit? I think a cookie is just the American version of biscuit. IMO.
Usually they're softer though. Like Jaffa Cake is like a shortbread is more of a biscuit, I would say, than a cookie. The way when you chew it, it kind of flakes in your mouth. It doesn't crumble. It's not soft.
You can have a soft cookie though. This is complicated. It's just I don't know if there's a clear answer here.
You have to take into account different countries, different cultures, or
yeah.
why they call things differently.
I'm trying to think back to my time in Britain, and I don't think I ever heard someone say, "Can I have a chocolate chip biscuit?" But I do think that someone in Britain would point to a pile of chocolate chip cookies and say, "Oh, give me a biscuit, will you?" I don't think they would say cookie when they point to the biscuit. Sorry, to the chocolate chip cookies. But I don't think they're gonna call them chocolate chip biscuits either. It's this weird kind of thing. Do you want a biscuit? Oh, go on then.
They're British.
Yeah, they're British and they're
not gonna say
weird.
Cookie. They're gonna say like a Chalky Lovey or some other cute
chocolate chip bicky. There you go. Someone said it in the chat.
Like
yeah, that is a thing. Yeah. Oh, give me a bicky then. Or a chip buddy.
Raining, don't forget your brolly. You know, like everything is cutesy with the British. That's why we have nappies. Where was I now?
Jaffa cakes are definitely not definitely cakes. If anyone has never had a Jaffa cake, I highly recommend that you try them. They're very good. You might be able to get them imported on Amazon, but only get them if they're Prime.
Sorry. Why don't you just Uber Lyft around instead of both getting a car? Can we tell them? There's no Uber here. There's no Uber Eats.
There might be Uber, but there's no Uber Eats.
I don't think there is. Like, good luck. Even get taxi. He called for a taxi to go to the airport one night, and they didn't answer.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't answer. I had to call.
He's looking at me.
I had to call
like 3 a.m, and he's like, "How am I getting to the airport?" I had to call another kind of taxi.
No. I had to call the only other taxi.
And if they hadn't answered, I guess he just wasn't making the flight. Because,
it's like, oh no, I've exhausted 50% of the taxis in this city in one phone call. Shit, what do I do?
It just kept ringing. There wasn't even a message or anything. It just, nobody answered. You go on Just Eat, and there's a sushi place, and that's it. There's no Uber Eats. There's no Skip the Dishes. Major culture shock from here, from Toronto, let me tell you. Oh, apparently they don't have Uber in Vancouver either.
What?
It's
really?
banned or something.
Oh, it's banned? Okay. Fuck, that sucks. Vancouver.
Hopefully they have more than 2 kinds of taxis, though. Start an Uber. No one's getting in the car with you.
Uber simulator.
Yeah, we have poutine, or poutine as they call it here.
Poutine here, yeah.
Poutine.
Poutine. They have poutine. I thought, this close to Quebec, that every single poutine here would be cheese curds instead of mozzarella, but there've been a few that are mozzarella masquerading as poutine.
Which is just
it's just
so
not
close to
it's,
Quebec.
it's so
just,
shit.
It's disrespectful.
If you've ever come to Canada, or if you've ever been in a place that sells poutine and you've had a poutine and you taste it and you're like, wow, I don't know why Canadians go crazy for this. Like I do believe that some people won't like it, but chances are you probably had it with mozzarella cheese instead of cheese curds. And cheese curds may sound gross, but there's something about the cheese curds mixed in with the gravy and the fries that just really makes it a lot better than mozzarella. It's not the same. It's really a big difference. Are we ever gonna answer questions?
I'm still thanking people. Good thing I'm awake, because I think we're gonna be here forever. So I don't know how I'm awake, to be honest. It would be probably poutine without the e. That's how I would write it if it was pronounced the way. It's like they pronounce it the French way, and I'm not exactly sure what the French way is, but I'm assuming that is the French way, because these people that are saying it, a lot of them seem to have originated from Quebec. So I'm guessing
the realtor that we had was from Quebec, and he said to me, "Do you like poutine?" And I sort of looked at him, and then I realized what he said. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I like poutine, yeah." That's another one too. Like, I don't know if this is standard practice everywhere, but when a realtor, when you put your house for sale, the realtor will hang
it's a lockbox.
A lockbox on the doorknob, the front entrance, and it's hooked up to a phone, your cell phone system, like an app, and you have to like authenticate your app with your phone, and it'll send a signal to the lockbox and open it, and then you can get into
that way any
the
realtor
house.
can get in.
Yeah. So it keeps a set of keys there to get into the house, and that's still on our doorknob on the front, and we've texted I think a couple times, and because our realtor isn't the one that was in charge of the house, he's just the one that we contacted and then saw all the houses, and that's a whole weird complicated system, and that's still on there. So if that doesn't get resolved soon, Datapon's gonna take some bolt cutters to it and see what happens.
Yeah, we've been here like 4 weeks now, and it's still there.
Yep.
Which is also like
there are no keys in it.
A great message to send to the neighborhood, like, we're new, we live here now, because that's what that means, right? It's like a big sign still on the front lawn saying we just moved in. Oh, apparently poutine, or they're spelling it like poutine, is prostitute in French and Spanish.
Is it really? Maybe Max was asking something else then.
Maybe. He was friendly with me, but not that friendly, if you know what I mean.
Did I just say his name? Shit.
Oh well. Thank you to Micrologist, who used 200 bits. Thank you to Ralph Plugs, who used 25 bits. And says, did you still have the Hollow Knight footage on them?
Do I still have the what, sorry?
Hollow Knight.
No, I don't. Sorry. I deleted that after I made the video. I had a lot of footage, and I think what I'm gonna do, the current hard drives, the extra hard drives that are in this new computer that I built, I built it all new except for the GPU that I had. So I got a new motherboard. I got one of those fancy M2 drives that are tiny and are like science fiction to me. I installed this thing. If you don't know what an M2 drive is, it's the new solid state drives that use the same sort of PCIe Express whatever the fuck it is thing, and that made me think that it was going to be this big thing that takes a PCIe slot, but it doesn't. It just uses the same sort of bandwidth that PCIe uses, and installing this thing was science fiction to me. Just amazing. So if you don't know what they are, I would Google them and then YouTube installation to see how small these things are. They're smaller than USB sticks. I couldn't believe when it arrived, and I looked at it and I was like, what the fuck, this is a terabyte? There's no way. So I got one of those because that's really, really fast for the access, and that's really good for making videos. And I brought the GPU, the 1080 that I had in the last computer, and I got a new keyboard too, as you guys can tell from I keep messing it up. And I brought the old hard drives from the other computer, so I have a 2 terabyte drive and a 4 terabyte drive from the old computer. I think what I'm gonna do is after things get settled and I've got I made another couple videos. I think I'm gonna move these hard drives into the old computer base upstairs.
He's making a joke about the bugs, the boxes and the bugs.
Okay, and then I will. And then I'll put the, and then I'll get some 10 terabyte hard drives so I can keep all the footage that I have. I don't know. Would anyone be interested in this? I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna do it, even though I'm asking. But I guess maybe I could. I don't know. The second channel is gonna have some structured content on it, hopefully. So maybe I'd have to make a third channel for that. But if I have 40 hours of footage for Hollow Knight, like, should I upload that and you can watch it without any commentary? I don't think so. I don't think anyone would enjoy that. I don't think that's a good idea. That would be boring. I'm not talking. I guess some people do like to just have playthroughs of games on YouTube where no one's talking. I do see people asking for that somewhere, but I don't know.
No, we haven't eaten any food from Western New York. I don't think we've been
From
to
where?
New York. I was asking about New York, if we've eaten any food that is like their kind of food. You know, like their Jaffa cakes. I'm guessing. Like that
No.
Kind of thing. We've been to New York, but we've only really been, I think, to New York City. You know, Manhattan. I don't think we've been.
We didn't go together though.
No, we went separately. But
We both went before we met each other.
I was in Rochester and I think Webster. We almost drove into the lake in Webster. It was really dark and we couldn't see where we're going. And when we got out of the car and checked in the morning, you know, like, yeah, it was really close to the water, but we didn't. And I have relatives in Rochester that have a restaurant, and we ate there. We didn't really eat anywhere else, but it was very basic diner kind of food. So yeah, nothing special. And Tim is moving in 4 days. Tim, the biscuit guy. So
Okay.
Good luck to you.
Good luck.
It's hell, and I don't wish it upon anybody. So I hope it goes really well for you, because I hate moving.
Moving's really bad. Yep.
I hope it goes better for you than it went for us, even though it could have gone worse for us. So there.
I mean, of course, there are always going to be worse things than that. You know, there's death in the family, there's illness, there's, you know, losing your job, you know, like massive breakup, divorce, that sort of thing. But in terms of just regular shit that people go through that isn't in the realm of emergency, you know, I don't think there's anything worse than moving. At least I can't think of anything right now. Just something that's like you choose to do, or maybe you don't choose to do it, maybe you have to do it. You are running out of fuel, you should find a gas station. Uh-oh. Okay, is that one to the left there? That looks like one.
Thank you to Swag Up. Oh, wow. Swagopotamus. There we go.
That's a good name.
Who subscribed with Prime.
Thank you very much.
To But I'm Homeless, who subscribed with Prime.
This is not a gas station. Oh no. Did we just take a toll for no reason?
What did I just do?
We just got tolled for no reason. Tolled hard. Tolled hard.
Oh no. I think I closed it somehow.
What did you
How
close?
I do that? Streamlabs.
Uh-oh.
Bear with me here. So much shit open. Yeah, I think I closed it. The screen, like the screensaver kicked in, and I hit this stupid mouse that I hate because this stupid laptop mouse is just awful. And yeah, it just went away. So hold on.
Why didn't they give me
I
enough?
closed all of it.
Why didn't they give me enough fuel to get to my destination? Why? Why would they do this?
Oh, Lily.
Do you think there's some fuel in that thing I could siphon out? Okay, the fact that that crossing over there is still red is making me a little nervous. What happens if we run out of petrol? What happens? Do we die? Okay, lights are on.
Okay, thank you to But I'm Homeless, who subscribed with Prime. Thank you to Static Toss, who subscribed with Prime. Thank you to Donut Sandwich, who subscribed with Prime. Thank you to Sin9X.
That's a lot of people. Thank you.
100 bits and says, "Hey Joe, did you know that on his school vacation, Atreus would go to Egypt?"
Wait, Egypt? Hold on. Is a donut sandwich a sandwich that instead of bread has a sliced open donut on either side, or is a donut sandwich 2 slices of bread with a donut between them?
I think donut is the bread. Because
you think so?
Donut is the bread. So, otherwise, just a lot of bread in your sandwich. It's a heart attack. Thank you to Resines, who resubscribed for 9 months and says, "Man, it's been a while."
Risinisi?
Is it Risinisi?
It's
Sorry, I always want to
Risinisi.
say Resines.
No, it's okay. I think that's how I pronounce it
Risinisi.
first. Yeah, it's been a while, Risinisi. Welcome back to Cringe Town. Wait, what? What's going on here? Why am I going around and then back around and going back where we came? Oh, now we're going forward.
Okay. Sorry, Risinisi.
What? What's going on? Why is the game doing this to me?
Thank you to Nikofas, or Nikofas, who subscribed with Prime.
Wait, are we supposed to go down there? What? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, well, there's only one thing to do.
Thank you to Hole, I think. HOHLL. Not sure. Who resubscribed for 2 months. And thank you to the Duke22, who subscribed with Prime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, now can we do Patreon?
I think so, yeah.
Florian B says, "Hey Joe, hey Lily, I hope everyone is healthy and feeling great. I
Thank you.
finally managed to become a Patreon, yay. First of all, I want to thank you for all the work you are doing. It always feels almost unreal to find someone on the internet that is really giving their opinion in such an understandable way. Sometimes you criticize games I like very harshly, and I really want to kick you in the face. But because of the way you present and support your arguments, I have nothing else to say than, oh well, he has a really good point, damn."
That escalated really fast. Just kick me right in the face. Okay. Alright.
So thank you very, very much for your awesome work. Additionally,
You're
I
very
wanted to
welcome.
offer you something. I'm a professional video editor and also training other editors for Premiere Pro CC. So if you have any questions, you can always contact me. For free, of course. Also, I could maybe see if I can show you some neat tricks to work faster. I realize that there are always small improvements you can make to save a few clicks. Actually, I have 3 full questions for you, but I assume that the first 2 will just give the sad, "Sorry man, I've never played, watched it, and I cannot say anything about it" answers. I'll just try.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Have you watched 13 Reasons Why? And if yes, what is your overall opinion on it? I don't want to kick off the usual political discussion about it. I just want to hear your general thoughts.
First of all, thank you for the offer for help. I'm kind of like an old turtle that's shelled down in a ditch. Though I'm just kind of stuck in my ways when it comes to video production at the moment. There's probably better ways and more efficient ways for me to do the things that I do, but I've learned, I've taught myself, so there's probably a lot of bad habits that I would take so much time to unlearn that it might not be worth the time to do it. So I don't know, but thank you for the offer though. If there's ever anything that I'm trying to do, then I might take you up on it. I think we're completely stuck in the game right now. I have not watched 13 Reasons Why. Lily has though, and maybe Lily can give you some answer because I'm not going to be able to give you anything. I will say though that I want to preface what I'm about to say again, making it absolutely crystal fucking clear. I have not watched this show, so what I'm saying might be completely off base and completely wrong. And I just want to say that right here, right now, because I don't want to judge the thing when it's better than I think. Oh, I just unchecked them all. You know what? I'm not repairing it now. Oh, repairs are covered by your employer. Okay, cool. Anyway, so what I'm about to say is like it may not be that bad, but I think anything that has the potential to glorify suicide is really dangerous and shouldn't happen. Anything at all. So if you haven't watched 13 Reasons Why, or you haven't even heard of it, it is about a girl whose name is Hannah Baker. Who, what does flashing yellow mean? It means treat it like a green. Hannah Baker, who kills herself. Spoilers, no, because she wanted revenge on a bunch of people that wronged her. I don't know if that's the real catalyst, or if she was just going to do it anyway, and she decided that she wanted to fuck it. She would have
done it anyway.
Yeah.
But the way that the show goes about it is that she has tapes that she has 13 tapes essentially, and each tape is for each person who contributed to why she's killed herself. So that's what you're getting at. But yeah, I don't think she did it for revenge, but yeah, there is that.
So I don't know. In my uninformed opinion, that is glorifying suicide, and I read some articles about it because that's faster than watching the whole show, and I think that a lot of experts agreed with that stance and said, this is dangerous. There might be some copycats that try and do the show or whatever, or might put the idea in some people's heads. Blah 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 blah. That's kind of. Oh, wow, that was close with the cop. So that's kind of over discussed and overdone at this point. What I will say is that it got a second season, and I said this to Lily when the second season was about to come out, that I thought the best thing that the second season could have done is that if because the second season is about a trial or something, it continues the story. I thought that the way they could have pulled it back, justified the first season, and also kind of made things right, would be if the second season was an alternate reality where she didn't kill herself and instead tried to reconcile these problems and work at things constructively, and the end result is better than when she killed herself, to show, hey, suicide isn't the answer, there's always better things that you could do, and that sort of thing. I thought that could have been interesting, and it could be a different twist. It still could have been very dramatic and have a lot of problems. It would have been perfect, she's had a lot of problems, but I thought that could have been a cool idea, but no, they didn't do that. Or they could have had someone do a copycat, and it turns out that this is a really bad thing that what she did, and this person who's a copycat actually really shouldn't have done it, and look, what Hannah Baker did was very destructive, blah 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 blah, like that sort of thing. But that's all I know about it, and so I'm sorry I can't say more. I have very little interest in watching the show, but to counter my criticism, which again is completely uninformed, maybe the show's fantastic, Lily watched it and Lily can talk about it, and I know Lily very much enjoyed it. So Lily on the mic.
Yeah, I watched it and I wasn't really sure what to expect from it. Stuff with suicide usually makes me uncomfortable because I'm bipolar and I've been suicidal before, and it's just kind of like, you know, if you're having a decent day, why go down that road again and bring up what could be bad memories and stuff like that? But I watched it. I kind of binge watched it as much as I could. And the last like 3 episodes I watched when Finn had gone to sleep, like back to back, because it was getting very to the point where I couldn't watch it with them around. If you've seen it, you know why.
There may be spoilers for what Lily says right now, by the way.
I don't want to say anything that spoils, but it's...
Well, I think you can talk about she kills herself.
She kills herself.
Because that's the whole premise of the show, and I think you can talk about how she kills herself.
She kills herself, but there's other stuff too that happens right before she kills herself that I found were quite graphic, that made me very uncomfortable, as I think you're supposed to feel. And there was a lot I thought they did well with it. When I watched it, I didn't feel what Joe is saying at all. It didn't even occur to me that people might be watching this and, you know, might be interested in copying or, you know, doing some kind of revenge suicide or anything like that. I watched it as I would watch any show, and I liked certain parts of it. Parts I thought were overdone. The part with the car accident, where she blames herself afterward for that, I thought that was kind of stupid. I thought that was not really her fault, and that they were kind of grasping at that point. The part with what was his name? The best friend that loves her, that they worked at the movie theater together.
Waffles?
Not Waffles. I don't remember his name now. Chip or Cliff I think, right? There was at a party and she's like, you know, kind of gives some mixed signals and stuff, and then looks kind of like a cock tease a little bit. Like, I thought that again was kind of overdone, that it wrecks their relationship for no reason. The fight she has with her parents about the money and everything, like, again, these things, I don't want to give away too much, and I don't think I am. I'm kind of being ambiguous about it, but these things I felt were kind of grasping at straws as a reason, you know, that they needed 13 reasons, you know, when I felt like they could have stopped at half of that, you know, like, these reasons I didn't feel would...
It should have been called...
Clay, thank you. Yes, Clay.
8 reasons why.
Cliff, Chip, Clay, something like that. 8 reasons why. It doesn't have the same impact, does it, as 13 reasons why. But yeah, the scene when she goes to Bryce's party, after I watched that, I felt very uncomfortable, and I felt like, okay, as someone who's been depressed before, and someone who's gone through lots of things before in terms of being bullied and in terms of family drama and everything like that, part of me really felt for her and felt like I can see why she would feel the way she does in that moment. And because I felt that way, I felt they had done a good job, because of the fact that I actually felt something for her. You know what I mean? That they were able to reach me in that way. But then the scene where she kills herself is really graphic, and it shows how she goes to school that day, and she goes to the teacher and she tries to get help, and the teacher brushes her off and basically says, well, have you really done anything, you know, to help yourself? And she hasn't really. So he writes her off, essentially. He doesn't help her. So she goes home and she changes her clothes, and she puts on old clothes, and she gets in the bathtub with the razor blades that she stole from her parents' store. And she's already sent out her tapes and everything that she wanted to do, and she just gets in the tub and she slits her wrists, and you see everything, and she bleeds out, and you just sit there and it shows all of it. And it was so uncomfortable for me that somebody, again, who had been suicidal and depressed and had issues like this in the past, that was always an option for me. I always thought, okay, well, you know, how would I do it, you know, and that was always a way that, yeah, you could do it like that. And after watching it like that, I thought, I really don't see that I could ever do that to myself.
And that's kind of a counterpoint to what I was saying earlier, that maybe, you know, the revenge part, but if you do watch the whole thing and you get there and then you're like, oh my God, and they didn't hold back on that, maybe that is a way that they were.
And then they show how the parents find her afterward. and the water is like coming out from under the door, and the mother goes in and is grabbing her and calling 911, and you know she's dead. There's way too much blood. It's a bloodbath. There's no way that this girl is still alive, and the mother is so desperate that her daughter is alive, you know, and what can we do to help her, and trying to revive her. And it's just so much. Do you know what I mean? So the suicide scene for me makes up for a lot of the pitfalls with it, just because I felt like they did a good job for most of it. I felt that they understood depression and how you can really deteriorate, and how by the end you feel so far removed from yourself, and you don't feel like anybody understands you. You don't feel like anybody cares about you, to the point that every little thing is just another strike against you, you know. And so maybe it should have been 13 Reasons Why. Maybe it really shouldn't have been 8, but some of it I did feel like they were reaching a little bit. But I felt they got it in terms of depression, which was, for me, it made me feel better, you know, that someone got it, someone portrayed it the way that I would want it to be portrayed. But I also felt that the suicide scene for me personally disturbed me so much. I thought about it for weeks afterward. That scene afterward, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like that's really stayed with me. That, you know, I once thought, oh, you know, if things get really, really bad and I'm going to kill myself, I could do it that way. You don't have to worry about hanging yourself. You don't have to worry about how many pills to take. You don't have to worry about all these little details. You could just slit your wrists. And after watching that, I thought, there's no fucking way I'm ever slitting my wrists. Like, that just looked so awful. And, like, she suffered so much. And, you know, so I think...
I don't know what it's like. Do you get cold?
I think you get cold.
Yeah?
I think you get cold, and you probably get numb. And, yeah, and it's just... I don't know, do you sit there and just watch it happen, or do you just close your eyes and just hope it happens quickly? You know, like, I don't know what to think, and you know, you never really think about those little details, I don't think, too much, but when they're forced you have to watch it like that, then yeah, I thought about all of it afterward. So, yeah, so that was my thought on it. I liked it overall. I want to watch the second part. The second part is supposed to deal with the trial, and if you've seen it, you know that a lot of the tapes that she dealt with, there were some criminal things that did happen that people were going to be prosecuted for afterward. And there was a copycat that happens in the show, actually, and he survives, from what I remember. So it's not as awful as if he had have died. But from what I remember, there is some stigma about it that, oh, we have another one kind of thing. So to me, they did cover it a little bit in terms of that. They could have done more with it. They could have done it better. I actually would have preferred Joe's version of the second season.
You haven't seen it yet, though, so don't say that. I
haven't seen it. No, but I really like the idea, and I feel like they could have done that for a third season. Or a fourth season. They could have done the trial later on. You know, they don't have to do it immediately afterward. But I thought, you know, that was, when you said it like that to me, I thought, first of all, I thought, oh, wow, I didn't consider that this could be a revenge thing and other people might copycat this. Because I wasn't thinking that way when I watched it. But I did like your idea for that, and I thought that would have been good.
This sounds weird, but I go to watch people die for some perspective on life makes you more appreciative. It's incredibly morbid and horrific. Yeah, I've gone there too, and I've thought that I feel the same way. Yeah. It also makes you realize how fragile you are, and it makes you be cautious around certain things. It's spring-loaded doors, especially. You know, it's
I don't want to watch anything like that.
It's amazing how fast you can die and how fragile you are. At the same time, it's amazing what you can live through in terms of, you know, small amount of damage over a long period of time, but you know, all it takes is one quick thing in just the right place, and yeah, and then it's pretty bad. I don't know what these are, by the way. I'm just picking them randomly. I'm not really paying much attention to the game. Well, thank you for that, Lily. To counter that and to just bring us back, I'd like to say that there was a joke on Discord one time about our hot dogs sandwiches debate. And they said that we should make it into a series called 13 Reasons Rye. Oh.
Sorry if I rambled, you guys.
No,
it's kind of hard
you didn't ramble.
To get your thoughts in order for stuff like that. And I haven't seen the show in quite a while now. It's been what, like 6 months or something since I watched it. So
this is the Rambly stream.
I wonder if I didn't have the history that I have with it, and that I get very uncomfortable, like I said, when it comes to suicide, and partly because of myself, and partly because I know what I've been through, and I know that I kind of have a weakness toward it because of the type of bipolar that I have is very depression heavy and everything like that. So I know that my lows are going to be very low, and something that I do worry about, if I'm being honest, from time to time, is that what if they get so low that I don't see a way out, even with Joe and my kids? Like, what happens then? What if the medication just stops working, you know? What if there is no medication? What if this is just my life now? You know, like, it does get...
The medication really helped you, though.
Yeah, it does. But what if it stops? You know, like,
yeah.
I do think about these things, and I do worry about that.
For anyone who may be watching this on the VOD later, and I'm sure Lily has said this in Discord often too, Lily speaks to quite a few people on Discord that deal with depression. And I think there's this stigma around taking medication for any mental issue. First of all, there's stigma about having a mental illness at all. Both me and Lily technically are mentally ill. Mine is a different classification. I don't think it should really be in the same league because it's a sleep disorder, but it's still a mental illness. It's still kind of an invisible illness. You know, I still hallucinate, that sort of thing, just rarely. But there's a stigma about having mental illness, but there's also a stigma among the mentally ill about taking medication for it. And, you know, it's all about you're going to be numb. It's not going to work. It's not going to be worth it. There's going to be all these trade-offs. You know, it got so far that posers like the Evanescence girl wrote a song about lithium when she doesn't even take it. You know what I mean? I think Nirvana had a song Lithium too, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And
but again,
it's such a cool word, isn't it? Lithium. Yeah. It's such a cool word.
It is a cool word, but it's not the most fun to take.
Yeah. And Lily had great success with medication. There was some that didn't work, and there was a balance that needed to be found. You're not on lithium now, right? It's a different one.
No, I don't take lithium anymore. I took it for a year and a half.
There's a much better drug that's somewhat new called Abilify, right?
It's an antipsychotic.
Yeah.
It's not a mood stabilizer like lithium, but it does the same thing.
Yeah, and I would say that don't completely write it off if you are one of those people that feels like, you know, there's no way a pill's ever going to help me or anything like that. Like, because I felt like that too in my life, and there's also this thing, oh, I need a pill to be normal, you know, whereas you should think of it as better living through chemistry, you know, it helps, and it's part of modern life. I don't know. People get really funny when it comes to medications and stuff.
You have to play with them, though. You know, you have to. You're very unlikely to find something the first time you take stuff that's going to help you. For me, I took so many antidepressants over the years, and my doctor didn't know I was bipolar because I don't present manic the way a lot of people present with mania, right? So to me, it looks like it's just depression until you really ask the right questions, and then you see that I do have, it's called hypomania. I don't hallucinate. I don't have psychosis. So they're asking questions like, you know, are you promiscuous? Do you like self-medicate with drugs and alcohol? Do you spend lots of money when you're like this? And I don't. We never had any money or credit to spend, so like there was no option to spend anything even if I had wanted to. And because I don't live that kind of lifestyle, you know, I kind of slip through the cracks and stuff like that. But I was on so many times they would give me an antidepressant. Here, this should help you. Nothing else seems to be helping you. And I would take it for about a week, and I would start to feel really angry and really irritable, and that was my hypomania kicking in. But I didn't know at the time, so I would just stop taking it and say, well, fuck this. I feel worse now than when I was. I would rather be depressed and feel numb again than be angry and irritable all the time. So well,
it's weird if you ever watched an episode of House where they have something that they don't know what the person has. And they basically, so it's like, okay, this guy has heart problems, and you know he's having arrhythmia that's you know it's brought on by exertion, you know, overexertion. We need to monitor him while he's in this state. So what do you want to do? put him on a fucking treadmill and make him run, you know, like they trigger the episode, which sounds so like, holy shit, are you guys crazy? Like, what if it does damage? But that's the only way that they can observe and find out, because they don't know what's wrong. And that's what happened with Lily, is that the way that they confirmed it is that they put her on Wellbutrin and said, okay, if you're bipolar, this is gonna make you fucking manic. And
no, they didn't tell me that. They didn't. That was where he was smart. He didn't tell me it was going to make me manic. He said to me, I think that you're bipolar. From the mood charts I had done for months and months, it looks like you're bipolar, but I don't want to diagnose you. Yeah, once I prescribe for you, I have to diagnose you. It goes in your file. So we can start medication and I'll properly diagnose you. Or you can try and, you know, put it off a little bit longer. And if there's anything else you want to try, you know, I tried exercise, I tried changing my diet, you know, stuff like that. It was short-term benefits. It didn't really help. I went back to him and I said, look, it's not helping. Can you put me on something? And he said, okay, we're going to start lithium. But before we start lithium, I want to try you first on this one other medication just to see, you know, if it helps you. And he put me on Wellbutrin, which is not only an antidepressant, but it's a stimulant. And people who are bipolar cannot take an antidepressant or a stimulant without taking a stabilizer or an antipsychotic. It makes you manic. So I was manic for like 6 days, you know, of
it was really bad.
Just climbing gradually, and then I peaked, and I was alternating between crying, washing the floor, watching a movie, and twitching. And we went out, and I thought people could hear my thoughts, and like I just lost it. Like it was.
This was a few years before the kids, right?
I've ever had.
How many years was it before the kids?
3 years before.
Yeah.
2 years before Finn.
Yeah, that was really bad. People are saying House is not medically accurate. Of course, House isn't medically accurate, but I read an article and it was about what shows do doctors think are the most accurate, and they said that Scrubs was the top one, and they said House obviously isn't that high up, but when it comes to trying to diagnose things that they don't know what they have, that part was actually pretty spot on, that they try and trigger the episode. I should have said that when I was explaining it with House, because obviously House is not a documentary, but yeah, apparently that part is accurate according to this. I think there was another article too that I read around the same time, because I was into that sort of thing. There was this video I watched too about, you know, what's accurate about these scenes, but yeah.
G-Jerk says, this discussion has made me realize I severely need to see a psychiatrist or something. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
And if you don't like the first one you talk to, try another one. Like, there's so many, and sometimes, like medications, there's so many, and there's different dosages. I was on lithium. I went to Abilify now. I was on Wellbutrin. They stopped me after I got out of whack with my medications. I'm on Wellbutrin again now, and now I'm on it with Abilify, and I love it. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
I still get out of balance a little bit, but it doesn't last as long, and it's not as intense as it used to be.
Definitely don't accept a doctor you think doesn't understand you. It has to be a good relationship. Just don't. There are really, really bad doctors out there. Really, really bad. And as much as it may sound stupid, and this is a good attitude to have, which is, you know, how could I possibly question a doctor, right? Because they have all the years of studying to back up their opinions and whatever. You know, whenever I've gone to the doctor and they say, well, what do you think we should do? I usually say to them, I'm not the fucking doctor here. What do you think we should do? And I usually go with what they say. But if you're getting a bad feeling, or you feel like they're not taking you seriously, or whatever else like that, go get a second or third opinion. Just don't sit there and take it. You know, if you feel like they're not listening, then just walk out. I've had arguments with doctors because I felt like that. I worked for a doctor, and she was one of the worst people I've ever met in my entire life. I had to pull a catheter out of her arm once. I'll never forget how it felt. It was like pulling a stick out of a fucking thick nest of cobwebs. It was fucking terrifying. She was so awful. Yeah, so yeah, definitely don't accept. You know, it's a process. You know, you have to go through it all. Don't just accept, you know, shitty treatment. You know. Wait, what? This doctor, I spoke about this doctor before on the stream. This is going places, huh?
Yeah, we have to come back after. There's people here who need to be addressed as well.
This doctor was a medical doctor, but also a naturopath, homeopathy, that sort of thing. And if you know anything about that, you know that's complete utter bullshit. She was interested. She was a doctor to make money. She wasn't a doctor to help people. She was a doctor to make money, and she would push a bunch of stuff onto because we're in Canada, Canadian patients, and that wasn't covered by healthcare, because things that aren't covered by healthcare are bullshit. So she would push things like homeopathy medications. You know, it was like a fucking alchemist lab in there. You know, there was a bunch of fucking jars on her shelf, and I swear to God, one of them was tarantula extract. I swear to fucking God, like it was that level of bullshit that was on there. And if you know anything about homeopathy, you know there was no tarantula in that at all. It's all fucking snake oil, and she would push all these alternate remedies. You know, there was a foot bath thing that she would have that's going to draw out all the toxins in your whole body. It's going to draw it through your whole body, through your legs, and then through your feet. And you know, the color of the foot bath is what it is. And it was just like this rusty ass machine that you put your feet in, and it would just turn the water a different color to make it look like you were getting some things done. You know, and it was complete like. It was such bullshit that she had me operating some of these machines, you know, like I didn't do any trading. I was just a glorified assistant. Anyway, so part of her treatments that she would push on was vitamin C intravenous drips. And the whole second floor of her office was like a goddamn fucking opium den of you know, go upstairs and get a vitamin C drip. You know, oh, you have a cold, get a vitamin C drip. Oh, you have an earache, get a vitamin C drip. Oh, you're feeling a little sad, vitamin C drip will just clear that back up. What, it costs $150 to get it done? Yeah, ignore that. Don't worry. Oh, you know, you're a little cold, vitamin C drip. You're a little hot, vitamin C drip. Anything, you know, vitamin C surplus, go get a vitamin C drip. It'll help you flush it all out. Like anything that can be cured by vitamin fucking C drip. And to sell it, she would go up and have them herself, and you know, she'd sit in as this fucking baron in her fucking opium den on the second floor, you know, with the fucking Asian music in the background, you know, and the hush, like you know, and the wind chimes, you know, on these big fucking beanbag chairs, and have their read while they sip their fucking lattes and have their vitamin C drips because they have more money than goddamn fucking sense. And she would go up there too, and she was old. She was really old, and she would have like the most explosive diarrhea attacks too. She would like all of a sudden she would just like run out of, in the middle of talking to patients, she would just run out of the office and go into there's a bathroom on every floor because you know, she never knew when it might strike, and she would go in and she would have like just suddenly take massive dumps just in the middle of talking to fucking patients. And one time it backed up, like the whole sewer system backed up, and we had to call a plumber, and the plumber came, and the plumber who is, you know, is trained for this and this is every day. He gagged and almost threw up. It was too bad even for him with this backing up. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. Because she would hold meetings in the bathroom sometimes, you know. Not immediately after she went, but not long enough either. Anyway, so she would go up and have her vitamin fucking C drips as well, and because she was really old, she had trouble finding the veins to get it in, I guess, or I don't know if that's because she was really old or whatever. And she was big too. She was a really 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 big old woman, and she would have trouble getting them in, and they would get stuck because she would dig them in too deeply, and she didn't really give a shit about it doing well. I don't even know if it dripped in properly, because she knew it was bullshit. She told me she knew it was bullshit. And one time it got stuck, and she says to me, you know, you need to pull this out of my arm. And I looked at her and I went, I'm not doing that. And she's like, no, you are. Don't worry about it. Just pull it out. And I'm like, I don't really comfortable. And then she's just pull the fucking thing out of my arm. I'm like, okay, fine, fuck it. Hopefully it hurts. And just like, and I mean, like, you'd think something like that would just be like, oh, it just slides out and here it is. It's not. No, it was like effort, like appreciable effort to get this out of her arm. My arm hurt afterwards, still trying to yank this out. You know, like, It was like fucking pulling Excalibur out of the fucking altar, you know? Like there was like a splurt of blood, which was not cool at all looking back. But I was young and desperate, and I needed the money, and it was really really bad. But we got it out. She was the worst driver too, the worst driver.
I just want to say, before you told this lovely story, that there was somebody in chat, Duplex Flavo, who said that they are also manic depressive and they're having one of their bad days.
Okay.
So I just want to say that I feel like I should say something, that I'm glad you're here watching this today, at least, even though you are having a bad day. And sometimes a distraction is really what you need, so I hope that we'll get off this topic soon and you will be distracted. But just Joe always reminds me, and this is the best thing that he ever says to me in terms of bad days, is that it's not real. The thoughts that you're thinking are not real, and it's not really you. It's an illness, and that makes me feel better that it's not really me. It's an illness. It feels really fucking real in those moments, and those thoughts feel real, and they feel like you, and they linger with you afterwards, so they feel like you, but it's not really you. And it won't last forever. It might last weeks, or it might last days. Or you might feel better tomorrow. It's everybody's different, right? And even I would say every episode is different. So if you're struggling, it's not going to be forever. And I'm sorry you're having such a bad day. And I hope that this stream makes you feel even the tiniest little bit better.
Even a little bit better. Yep.
Someone else was asking if what you do to make me feel better.
We're available for children's parties, by the way,
what
if anyone wants us there.
Someone asked, they said their girlfriend is having a really rough time or something. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to say anything about what you... I feel like I've done all the talking here, so... Do you just want to tell them, briefly, and then we can move on from this, because we've been on this topic for a very long time now?
I think it's mostly attention that is never smothering, but everyone's going to be different. When I'm in a bad mood, I like to be left alone. I don't think I ever suffer from depression, but I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed. I don't think so. I think that long-term sleep deprivation can sometimes can kind of make you feel that way. I've had anxiety, but I've had anxiety only recently since becoming a father, and a lot of things to worry about. And I've said this on stream before. I never understood anxiety, and I always thought it was like, oh, you're just feeling a little off. Who cares? But I've said this a couple times on stream before, that if you've never experienced anxiety, just think of any time you've been walking down the street and you pat your pockets for your phone or your wallet or your keys, and they're not there, and you feel the wrong part of your pocket. And you didn't realize, you thought it was gone for a second, and that really tight moment of panic where you're like, oh my god, where are my keys, or oh my god, where's the phone, or you parked your car in a different spot and you forgot where it was, and you go to a different spot and your car's not there, and you're like, oh my god, where's my fucking car? Like, that's anxiety. So when people say I'm suffering from anxiety, that's what they mean, and that's if that doesn't go, like, imagine feeling like that for hours. That's anxiety. I'm lucky I've never felt it for that long, but it's I get
it's pretty bad.
Like it's about, okay, I'm worried about the kids, I worry about this, I worry about that, there's so much work to do, that sort of thing. So mine is not induced by any disorder. It's just worrying and fretting about life too much. When I get like that, I think when I'm anxious, I prefer company, and I would like to be with somebody, Lily preferably, or I'll distract myself by watching a movie or something, or I will interact with the kids is really good too. Like you can lose yourself to that. But when I get sad or depressed or in a mood, I usually like to be left alone, whereas Lily doesn't. Lily likes attention, but not smothering. So you want to be there, and you kind of, it's always going to be it's every situation is probably, every person is going to be unique, and probably every time is going to be unique too. You want to be there. Look, I'm here. I don't always ask, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Every 30 seconds, hey, you okay now? You okay now? You okay now? Be patient above all things. Patience is a very difficult to learn skill. It's hard for me to even say that out loud just now. True patience is very difficult to maintain, and it's very valuable. And I would say that if you can be as patient as possible, that would go a long way. Don't look at this as a problem that you have to solve and it has to be solved. If I keep asking if they're okay and I keep being here, it will pass by sooner. No, it's like this. This is what it's going to be, and I'm going to be here for as long as it's going to take. And if you need space, if you need me to go get you something, anything like that, then that's that's the kind of support that you want to be. If they want you to go away for a while, don't take it personally. Just go. Just leave them alone and let them have space. But still check on them as well. Like if unless they explicitly say, please go away and don't come back until I tell you. Like if they want some space, come back every so often and say, hey, just checking in. You know what I mean? I think that's what you should do. I like to tell Lily that it's like the weather, that what you're going through is it's a rainy day and you can't do anything right now and you're stuck inside and you can't go anywhere, but the rain will eventually pass. It might rain for a couple days. It might be really bad. It might rain for a week, but it'll pass. And I think reminding the person of that can help. But some people might be infuriated by that. So I can only tell you from my own my own experiences.
There's times I get kind of irate when he says it's not really you or whatever. It's not real. Because it feels real, and it really does. Whatever you're thinking in that time, you're telling yourself all kinds of shit, right? When you're up, your thoughts are looping and you don't even really know what you're thinking, and everything's really fast and everything's happening really slow and you're talking like this, and but when you're down, it's like I get where everything aches. Like I feel like I have the flu, and it's just you don't want to do anything. Like look, even to watch something, going on Netflix and looking for something is too much effort. Paying attention to a book is too much effort. Like everything is just too much effort. So again, it's different for everybody, but it does help me. I try to when he says that to me, my first reaction is usually, well, it feels fucking real. Like I want to be angry about it. It feels real. You don't know what I'm thinking. You don't know what I'm telling myself right now. It feels real. But when you really just take a step back just for a second, you realize that it isn't really real either, is it? Because a week from now, I might not be having these thoughts at all, and this will just be a bad memory,
I wonder what happened to our generation, because I see that a lot. I see it way more than it could possibly be people that have undiagnosed mental illness. It must be. Obviously, some people do have mental illness, and that's how they feel. But there's too many instances of it to be undiagnosed mental illness. I think of this. They say, I go home and I don't waste my time watching TV, but I don't do anything productive either. I literally just sit and do absolutely fucking nothing. I wonder if it's something to do with internet addiction as well. I wonder if absolutely fucking nothing is just sitting there refreshing the same websites for 4 hours. You're not even getting anything out of it. You're just hitting refresh, go to this website, hit home, go to Google, hit the bookmark, and you're right back at the same website you just went away from. You don't even know what you're doing, and I think I think that happens quite a bit to our generation. I wonder what happened.
There's also all those support. I was gonna. Duplex Slavo says I can't keep dumping it on my wife. My wife has chronic health issues, and I hate being alone with my thoughts and everything like that. There are support groups and stuff online that you can join, but they have their good and their bad points, and it's I don't know how much in the past was just that people didn't have outlets to reach out and stuff like that it wasn't talked about as much. Like now you can go anywhere on the internet and you can meet people and write on forums and stuff, right, and interact with other people who have the same mental illnesses and stuff as you do. And to a point, that's a good thing. But is it also making it a little bit more prominent? Maybe that you're more surrounded by people like this. Therefore, it seems like more people have this, than maybe before. Like, is it really a generational thing, or is it just that our level of tech now that it's everywhere? It's at your fingertips now. Whereas before, you might go through your whole life and never meet another person who was bipolar or schizophrenic or anything like that.
Even a percentage of a population having a problem with can still lead to quite a big group, that can be vocal in the online community that we have, which I think Okay, we need to end the question here and go on to the next ones, but I think that's an interesting conversation, and I think it's really worth talking about one time, or even thinking about in terms of a book, is just how there's all this stuff about, dopamine addiction that people talk about for Facebook and everything, and to some extent Twitter as well, maybe even more for Twitter. You want to get the big hot tweet that hits, and oh my god, some people like this, some people retweet it. Like I just did it with some dumb fucking Canadian joke, but then there's also how we interact as a society online now, and I think it's a much bigger deal than we're giving it credit for. And I think if we're not careful, maybe it's already too late, that it's going to lead to some really big fucking changes in how our culture works. Really, really, really big. And I'm curious and scared, but also kind of excited, and kind of like want to slow down and see the car crash way, like how it's going to pan out, because I really think it's doing some damage. It's doing some good too. I'm not going to be this old technophobe. I'm definitely not that person. But it makes me really worried and really concerned for the world that our kids are going to grow up in.
Well, there's also, while there is a stigma around these things too, there's also a little bit of, what's the word?
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Validation, where, that, people who self-diagnose, people who don't want to be properly diagnosed, people who don't want to go on medication, people who
there's also
jerk each other, kind of,
there's also I'm not in where I wanted to be in my life, and I'm not that successful, but hey, I have this, and that's why, right? And to some extent they're right. That's definitely a tough blow that they've been dealt with, but that's not the only reason. For some people, definitely, but I think it's rare. And that's very, very difficult to judge, though. In fact, I would go on to say that unless you live the person's life, it's impossible to judge, unfortunately. But yeah. Anyway, let's go on to the next question.
Two more things. Sorry, Air Transparent. I totally agree with you. And Cyberblade. That sounds awful. You shouldn't have to be your mother's therapist. Mm-hmm. We've both kind of been our parents' therapists at times in our lives, and it's really difficult. I would try to distance myself from that if possible.
It's a form of very light child abuse, as far as I'm concerned, depending on how old you are.
Going through a potential divorce, she's been really emotional lately, talks about stuff the most. It's really frustrating. It's really bad. And I don't really believe that you're really going to say or help in any way, personally. I don't believe that. I believe it's just you're either going to tell them what they want to hear, or you're going to make them angry. So they're just venting, right? It's not that they really believe maybe that you can help. It's just that they're venting. And yeah, I would try and not do that if possible, because I feel the more you do it, the more they expect it from you, and the worse it gets, and you just wind up in the middle. I would be on the receiving end from both parents, and then and my brother, and then I couldn't fix anything, and I was just in the middle of it all the time. So
chat gained 3 notes of knowledge and kindness.
We can move on now. I just wanted to say that.
No, it's okay.
Wanted to wrap up the last.
Yeah, this is.
I don't want people to feel that we just ignored.
I mean,
and moved on.
We're a Q&A stream for a video game channel doing Euro Truck Simulator. Right? Nothing that we're doing tonight is important, but in terms of relative importance to what we have, if we're talking about these issues, I think it's important to.
And there were people saying
to not gloss over things.
That the videos help, and they've helped through rough times and stuff like that.
That's
great.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that.
Great.
Quite a few people told me that. Thank you. It means a lot.
Have you played any of the Thief games? It is my favorite video game series. And I think especially the earlier parts are outstanding, and having organic gameplay that feels less gamey as most of the recent games that came out. Would you be interested in making a video on it?
No. Next question.
There we go. It's the same person, so there you go. So we gave you everything we had on the 13 Reasons Why. So hopefully you'll accept that next question.
I haven't played them.
Makes up for it.
I haven't played them. I'm not really interested in doing a video on them. I am interested in checking them out at some point, but I haven't played them, so I can't talk about them. Sorry.
Big question.
Okay.
Have you heard about the Scorched Contract mod for Dark Souls 1 PC? It changes the game in a way that every time you kill a boss, you get a limitation for your gameplay. It ramps up the difficulty to absurd heights. The streamer Lobos Jr. was beta testing it. Beta testing it.
Yeah.
I want to say tasting it for the creator, and it was really a ride to watch him. I don't know how interested you are in DS mods in general, but I thought that could be a nice idea. At last, I have a quick reminder that your Patreon link is not put in the description of your Q&A stream videos. It felt somewhat counterintuitive to not have it there. Sorry for my English, it's not my mother tongue, and I am always nervous when speaking to natives. Have fun and keep up the great work. You are the best, and get well soon, Joe.
I would say that 9 out of 10 isn't high enough. 95 out of 100 people who say, sorry for my English, it's not my first language,
I would never have guessed.
Are fantastic. I never would have thought that if you didn't say it. Like, it's maybe it's because when they're better at typing than they are at speaking, and maybe that's why they feel the need. But yeah, it doesn't come across at all. Yeah, you're great. Yeah, there's no link to the Patreon in the Q&A because I just copy and paste the description from the other videos over because I just try and put that up as quickly as possible. There probably should be a link there somewhere, but I don't know. Maybe it should be there. Oh, God damn it, the red light. And then we back up into a car. Yeah, I should probably put it there. As for your question, I have heard of that before. I don't think I knew the name of it, but I think I have heard of it before. That does sound interesting. Lobos is pretty good at those games. I've watched him do a couple streams now and then. I think the last time I saw him, which was a long time ago, he was doing a no HUD, no weapon, no something else run of Bloodborne, and he was just dying over and over and over again to Orphan of Cause, or some say Cosm, and that was entertaining to watch for a little bit, but then I started to look at it and think, okay, why? I also feel like a lot of those challenge runs devolve into, do you know the right item to use to buff your weapon up, and that's doing most of the damage instead of the weapon itself. And yeah, it's but yeah, he's really good at those games. No, I watched him after that. He was playing Hollow Knight, and I had a cool moment where because he's such an elite pro streamer, right? And I was watching him play Hollow Knight, and it was probably his first run ever. And I was like, yeah, I'm better than you at Hollow Knight. Like I had that moment. He's probably way better than me now if he's been playing a lot. But yeah, that was fun. I'd be interested in trying that. I don't know if I'd stream it, maybe, but I've never modded Dark Souls, and I think I would like to try that. Yeah, that could be fun. I think I would enjoy a twist on that. I would love to see some sort of better Chalice dungeon system set up that has the Dark Souls combat system and bosses and dungeons in a more rogue-like setting, or rogue-lite. I think that could be really, really good. I think Necropolis was a real waste if it is as bad as everyone says. That game could potentially be one of my favorite games ever because Enter the Gungeon is one of my favorite games ever, and I think I enjoy the combat loop of Dark Souls more than I enjoy Enter the Gungeons. So yeah, I think that could be a lot of fun. Yeah, so maybe I'll try it out sometime. I can't say anything more on that, sorry, because I haven't played it. I'm curious how difficult this is set up. I guess it must not be too bad. And I wonder if it would work for Dark Souls Remastered. I hope it doesn't ban you, though. I remember saying something about, like, if you mod... I hit E by accident. I remember if you mod Dark Souls, you can get banned from going online or whatever. And I've never summoned, or I've never been summoned in Dark Souls 1. I think I once got summoned in Dark Souls 2 just to see what it was like. But yeah, sorry, this is I got a mechanical keyboard. It's my first one ever, and I just lightly tap on the key and it just goes, man. Just the slightest amount of pressure and it goes. I'm not used to that.
Some cars have very touchy brakes, you know? It's true. When I learned how to drive my mother's car, you had to slam on the brakes, and then the instructor's car, you just had to lightly tap it, and I would always hit his car brake too hard, and we would lurch forward because I was so used to her car. So it's like you're really getting the real experience.
I know how to drive now, right? I think I'm ready.
Pretty much, yeah.
As long as I don't leave Moncton, I think I'm ready. I think my driving would fit right in. Someone in chat asks, did I play Dead Cells? Yep, I played Dead Cells months and months and months ago. I thought there wasn't enough content, and I was a little put off by that. I will try it when it's fully released. The gameplay seemed pretty good to me, but there just wasn't enough. I remember I played it for a couple hours, and then I was just curious how much I had seen of the game, and I looked it up, and apparently I was on the last area, and I was like, what? Really? You know? And I was put off by that. You know, I thought the boss or the bosses I killed, I can't remember, were you know, the first of maybe 50 or so, and it turns out there was only 3, and I was like, what? That seems weird. But I probably have this bad habit of comparing things to Gungeon, because Gungeon is the best of the kind for me, the best of the genre for me. Even though bullet hell side scroller are not exactly the same, but yeah. Anyway, what's the next question on Patreon?
Solitary Gamer
Hey, Solitary Gamer, how's it going?
says, hello Lily, Finn, Leo, and Joe.
Ooh.
I have no questions this month, but I nonetheless want to take this opportunity to say the following. I wish you every success in your house acquisition project. If it does happen to fall through, I urge you to keep looking and try to avoid Plan C, staying put, for the sake of your sanity and well-being. Staying in any large city is indeed a scam when it comes to land value, but it's simply a reality of supply and demand, as I'm sure you know. Lastly, get well soon, and if all else fails regarding your monaural deafness... Monaural? Is that how you say it? Monaural?
Hold on.
I've never seen that word before. Monaural?
Monaural. Yeah. Because my ear was... Yeah. Because my ear was messed up.
You could try asking your fans to lend you their ears. I mean, it worked for Mark Anthony, right? Shakespeare reference.
Weeaboos, viewers, lend me your ears. Well, thank you for the message. Because we're in the future, I can tell you that it all went through. It didn't go swimmingly, but yeah, my ears got better. The infection cleared up. The flights that I went through didn't bring the problem back. I had 3 flights since then. We flew to Moncton with the dogs and the kids, and then I flew back to Toronto, and then I flew back from Toronto after shipping all the stuff, and my ears are fine. And I was a little worried after I got to Moncton again after shipping the stuff from Toronto. My ear was still blocked after getting home via taxi, but I was able to do the nose pinchy trick, and I blew the blockage out gently, and yeah, I'm fine. So it was definitely the ear infection. I have a little bit of an infection again, though, in the left ear area, down into my neck a little bit, and it keeps coming and going. So I think I definitely need to go see a doctor. I put that off for a while. I should go get a checkup, and I should go see about that. I think there's something that keeps coming and going, and that's really, really bad. I shouldn't be ignoring that, but there's always something to do, and but yeah, health should take priority. But yeah, I think that's it. Right, thank you for the message. Hopefully next time you have some questions, so you're getting your money's worth.
I haven't seen you on Discord in a while. Hope you're doing well. And they can hear Chloe. Chloe's lying behind me and she's snoring. So
yeah,
that's the dog.
Someone said I can hear Joe breathing in one of the other streams, and I watched the stream back, and yeah, that's not me. I'm quite the quiet breather.
No, it's Chloe. Chloe,
yeah,
I think was last time too.
It's one of the dogs. It might even be a cat one time, but yeah, it's the dogs.
Someone asked about if when we were doing the house hunting, if we considered renting in Brampton. We actually didn't look at Brampton because, one, we don't really know much about Brampton or Mississauga or Vaughan or Milton or any of those places over there. But we were worried that it wasn't maybe as pedestrian friendly as some of the other places we were looking at because we don't drive. And I had heard from other people in the past that Brampton is good if you have a car, you know, that it was quite far for groceries and stuff. So I don't know if that's true, but it kind of put me off that I didn't really look in Brampton, no. And it worked out because we're here now, so.
Jesus, is your doggo okay?
She's fine, she's
no,
sleeping.
crashed.
She's
Oh, look,
look.
did you see the car flip there? Oh no, I'm sorry. They breathe quite heavily when they get into a deep sleep, I think. But they're old lady dogs. I hate to say it because maybe hopefully they'll break, you know, the average and keep going, but they probably only have a couple of years left. It makes me really sad. We've had them for their whole lives pretty much, and I think they've had it decent with us at least. We'll probably get another dog soon. I'd like I think a big German Shepherd. I want a guard dog.
Good night, Carlos. See you soon. Thanks for stopping by.
I'm gonna name the dog Gatsby.
Depends.
Big German Shepherd Gatsby.
Gatsby, but depending if we're not doing dogs independently for the kids because there'll be too many dogs, you might want to speak to Finn about a Sherlock. Because we were gonna name Finn's dog Sherlock, and then we were talking about it, and we thought, well, you know, if we all have our own dog, that's too many dogs. So, you know. But Gatsby's
Everyone's
an
gonna
awesome
say
name.
in chat right now we should have Finn's dog should be named Jake.
I know, but we've never actually watched it, and he doesn't know anything about it, so it doesn't have the same appeal as Sherlock or Gatsby. Like, come on, those are some sophisticated dog names. They say if you're getting a German Shepherd, name him Wallace. Or get a cat and name it
Catsby. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Name the dog Morgana. I love that name. Persona didn't totally ruin it for me either.
Oh, you want to go? You want to go partying? Oh, shouldn't you study? Oh, you want to go out to a club? Oh, don't you think you should go to sleep? It's a little late. Oh, poor Waffles.
The next question is in...
Well, hold on. Why not name it Datapon? Because I'm gonna be outside and I'm gonna be yelling, Datapon, come back! No, the Gatsby's bad enough. Gatsby. What's the video? What's the name of the dog in the video where you hear the dog running and they're yelling out the dog's name and then it's the dog is chasing like 500 sheep across a field? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What's the name of the dog in that video? I
no.
love that video so much. I need to find it after we're done. I would name a dog Tora. Fenton, that's it. Fenton. It's a British guy too. It makes it so great. Fenton. Anyway, sorry, Lily. Go ahead.
How do you say this? I can never remember how to say the name.
Inspector Gescheit or Geschickt? Geschickt. I think it's Geschickt. I think Gescheit
I don't speak any German, and that looks very German
it's not
to me.
good. I know very, very little German.
I know Scheiße. That's it.
Wow.
That's the only word I need to know. I actually would like to learn some German. What do you think is a game that has a whole leveling, crafting, upgrading system bolted on that overcomplicates a straightforward experience?
Is that the whole question?
Yes.
All of them. All of them. I'm only being half joking right now. All of them. Yeah. I think the only games that really benefit from them are games like we're playing right now, where it's you know they're you're building towards something and you're trying to and you're building options as you go through. If your game isn't building options through that system and instead it's just making numbers go up, then it's cookie clicker, and you're lying to the people that are playing it, and you should feel bad because it's cookie clicker. That's why cookie clicker is the most important game that you can ever play, and that'll be the title of a video one day. Cookie clicker is the most important game that you can play. And yeah, because progression systems that don't give you options are just cookie clicker. Darkest Dungeon, to some extent. Not all of it, but to some extent, yeah. No Man's Sky. Yeah. Of course there's going to be some gray area, but I would say that even in the times that there's a gray area, that almost every single case it would be better if it was removed. maybe it gets more difficult in games like Dark Souls, because Dark Souls, to me, Dark Souls' level system isn't good because of the progression. It's good because it gives death meaning. So I don't know if that's why it was designed that way, but to me, the fact that your first time through, souls are so valuable because you want to upgrade the stats because you think they're so important. They're not. You think they are. You think they're so important that you don't want to lose those souls, because you want to level up as much as you possibly can and get stronger because you're struggling because it's a hard game. That every single time you die, you're like, oh man, those fucking souls, I need to go back and get them. No, and it gives a bunch of tension. And I think that's worth the bullshit and the clunkiness of the upgrade system and leveling system more than anything else. And I guess the reason why it's okay is that once you realize that it's not really that important, you can just ignore it and you don't care anymore. Upgrading your weapon is way better, and getting your stats to the level that you can use certain weapons is way more important. And like you need surprisingly very few souls to do that in most cases, especially if you know where a lot of items are in the world. For some builds that have really, really high-end weapons that you need a 40 of a stat or something, or 32, okay, yeah, now suddenly souls are worth it again, but not really that much still, so I don't know. But I still think souls would benefit from a mode that doesn't, you can just ignore that completely. I think that Neo has some merit to its system, but I also think that would be a game that could be improved if you could just ignore it completely. Maybe if you could turn it off for your first playthrough and you just play it more like a Devil May Cry kind of deal, that sort of thing. Yeah, so I know it may sound like I'm flippantly dismissing a whole system of games, but I hate it. I really do. Yeah, I hate the, go and sit in a room and kill shit for a while, and then now your health is 105 instead of 100. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I much prefer it if you just find things by exploration in the world that make it better, So Hollow Knight, Super Metroid system, Metroid Prime, Metroidvanias really are good at that because there's such an exploration. It's open-ended. You pick something up and it's just here, boom, you're just better now. You didn't need it, but you're just better. You have more options. You can take more hits, and you didn't have to grind for it. It's just there. So if you classify that as a progression system, then okay, the conversation can go in a different direction. But when I heard the question, I immediately thought of just grinding and RPG stats and stuff like that. Yeah, I really don't like that at all. I get annoyed by it. I think it got in the way in God of War. I will talk about that in the God of War video. It's usually the worst thing that comes of it is that it makes things hard to balance, because now you have to think, okay, well, every single fight that's in a game has to be made with a minimum amount of leveling and gear in mind, and to some extent a maximum too, and because you want to be within those two ranges, because otherwise it's going to be too easy or it's going to be way too difficult. So if you have a system and it's like, okay, well, how do I make sure that players are within that Goldilocks zone? What if they're way above it? Do I tune the fight harder if they are? Well, if that's the case, then why even have the leveling system at all if you're just going to automatically tune it to whatever level they are? That's just adding a leveling system for no goddamn reason. Okay, well, am I going to make it so you have to be a minimum level to get into this area? Some games do that. If you're not this level, you can't get in. Okay, well, now you're just making me go grind for no reason, and you're making me do pointless mundane bullshit because I got here without grinding, and now suddenly you're not letting me in. You know what I mean? It's not, it doesn't work that way either. So I think it's a bad trap to fall into. Whereas if you have a more straightforward system of, your character never really gets that much stronger in terms of how much damage they do and how much life they have, then you can balance it around that much easier. Hollow Knight system, the difference between a mid-range character that finds only a couple health upgrades to someone that finds them all, it helps, but it's not a big difference. But I would say Hollow Knight fails in that the weapon upgrades are just bonkers. The last stage of the weapon upgrade is way too powerful in my opinion, but from reading the responses from what I said in the video, most people really disagree with me on that, so maybe I'm wrong when it comes to Hollow Knight, and maybe that's not a flaw, but it definitely was for me. I think that the one before it was high enough, maybe even the one before that. And that's good. It's too extreme of a difference between where you start and the last one in Hollow Knight. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that developers should be able to do whatever they want. Obviously, that's one of those things that I say sometimes, and immediately I think, why did I even bother saying it? It goes without saying. But that's just me prefacing the next statement. That is, I wish that there was an option to turn a bunch of that stuff off whenever a game launches with it. You know, I would like Dark Souls without it. I would like Nioh without it. I don't want to grind. I don't want to have to. You know, I'm enjoying this game and it's so much fun, and I'm killing shit, and you know, I'm getting loot. Like loot's a different thing, but then I suddenly have to sit down and look at this fucking 20 pages of stats and their explanations, and oh, what does this do, and oh, does dexterity in this game mean avoidance, or is it also tied to damage, because sometimes it's not there? Are they just going to call life or HP, or are they going to call it vigor, or are they going to call it, or is that tied to stamina somehow? And oh, is strength just carry weight, or is it dealt with, you know, like that's damage? Like, it's just, I don't give a fuck, you know what I mean? I just want to play the goddamn game, and it just slows it down. But I don't know, maybe I'm jaded when it comes to these things. I do think that there's merit for progression systems, and they can provide rewards that otherwise wouldn't be there. So I'm not ready to write them off just yet, but if I made a game, I think I would really look at what the purpose of the system is, and I think I would probably spend way too much time trying to figure it out, and do I really have the best system, and probably waste more time than it's worth, but it's important to me.
This may be a band-aid option that doesn't fix much, but if all of the low-effort moons in Odyssey were a different collectible, like gems in Spyro or precursor orbs that are explicitly a tier below moons and don't pause the game every time you pick one up, would it improve matters?
Yes, but okay, so here's where I wish that, you know, at some point in the future we can make a you know, a real-time simulation of the universe, and we can run changes through and see what people would think. You know, what would the world be like if you know, really important question, you know, what would the world be like if Dark Souls was never made? You know, like let's run it through the simulation and see what happens. I would really like to see what the consensus would be in Odyssey if this was what you're saying is real, like if that actually happened, because I want to say that I would have enjoyed the game more, but I also think that most people would have enjoyed it less when they reviewed it, because I think if you take away all those garbage filler moons and you made them, I don't know, star fragment bigger, though, you know, like, I don't know, I think that most people would realize just how little content there is in the game that is worthwhile, because suddenly it doesn't get mixed in with these filler moons, because a lot of people don't agree that they are filler moons. They think that they're fine, and it's so much content and it's so much fun. And if you took them all out or you made them something else, I think then you see how bare bones the game really has to offer. So I think it would have been a worse game according to a lot of reviewers, but I think for critics, you know, that thought the game was subpar, like me, and let me tell you, there are dozens of us. There at least 11 of us, you know, thought Odyssey was maybe not a masterpiece, at least. I think they would probably have said, you know, it's a bit better, but it still has a lot of problems. But I think that, you know, the reviews would have been lower too, which I think is kind of funny, and I would like to know for sure if that was it. So yeah, I better get on the simulation so we can run it through and see, because that's the most important thing we can do, the simulation. Yeah, but overall it wouldn't really change much of the structure of the game, right? It would just be a little faster. You wouldn't be sitting there, you know, drumming your fingers, you know, like, oh, we have to sit through this animation again. But I also wonder if maybe, because perception matters a lot, right? There are things that you say. Okay, so let's go back to the Hollow Knight video. There's a really, really obvious thing in Hollow Knight that I didn't notice until I went back and played Ori and the Blind Forest. And if I hadn't gone back and played Ori and the Blind Forest for the Hollow Knight video, I probably wouldn't have noticed this. And it's so important too. It's so important to realize that there's no sloped surfaces in Hollow Knight. That the whole thing is based on a grid and built on a grid, and there's probably a very simple level maker that they did because and the reason why there are and the lack of slope surfaces made it so much easier to arrange and put it together like that. You know, the blocks are all the same size, they're all the same shape. It's just that they have a different, you know, tile set that goes along with them. You know, everyone's messed around with an RPG maker at some point probably, at least if they're close to my age. And I'm sure there's probably a tool that Team Cherry has that's like that slope surfaces just couldn't fit into for whatever reason or whatever. And that's such a simple observation, right? And yet I didn't notice it until I went back and played Ori, and I've seen comments and people didn't notice it when they played the game either. So I wonder if there weren't so many filler moons, would that have made me... Like, was that the most important thing for me while playing that game? Was that... Because if you watch my stream, or very, very early on, I start to say, was that worth the moon? Was that worth the moon, really? You know? And how much of that kind of built over the whole playthrough when, you know, I started to question all the other moons that were in the game too, right? So if that was gone... If suddenly all those filler moons are gone, maybe I would have enjoyed myself time with it for longer, and I wouldn't, and the monotony and the what the fuck is this game would have set in later, and I would have overall enjoyed my time with it more. And because there wasn't that kind of breadcrumb that led me to realize that most of the game was filler trash, you know? Which is scary, huh? Like that's how small of a thing that matters when it comes to perception. It doesn't change the game at all. It's just your perception of it. Yeah, I don't know. Done talking about Hollow Knight? What? Buy my own truck?
Muted. I think they don't want spoilers or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I don't think that's a big spoiler, but maybe. I don't think I can afford my own truck yet. I think I need $98,000 to buy my own truck. Unless there's a cheaper place to get it. After I do this job, I'll look at it again, or maybe someone can tell me where to go.
Lost Izalith is mostly unchanged in the remaster. Given the opportunity, how do you think the planned level could have matched the quality of the better half of the game?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Oh, wow. Can I take this question in a direction that I get to redesign it? Because I would enjoy that. I guess that's the, like, it's going to be my thoughts anyway, right? So, what else could I possibly do? Like, what direction could I take it in? So yeah, I think that the best way that Lost Izalith could be improved and brought up to the rest of the game, and also fix the back half, would be if Lost Izalith was a like a foundation hub level that linked to all the rest of the worlds, all the rest of the levels around the second half, and to some extent the first half too. So Lost Izalith would be probably 3 times as big, or there would be routes that lead back up from the Ass Dragon lava lake at the bottom that go back up to the surface. You know, more of those trees, maybe a couple of elevators that, you know, won't reset after you call them. You know, things like that. Stairs, different connecting areas that, you know, lead back up to the surface and somehow. And there's this huge foundation at the bottom of the world that's, you know, really feels holistic with the rest of the world in Souls. I think that would be really good, and you can explore all these different ways, and you can have all these moments of, you know, breaking through a secret area, and then suddenly you're back in Undeadburg, or you're back in Duke's Archives, or you're back here, you're back there, or a place that you've never been before. If Lost Izalith is one of the first places that you go, I think that would be pretty fun. I think that would be really good, and I would have enjoyed doing that, and it would have brought the interconnectivity of the first half into the second half of the game. Is that feasible? Is that realistic? Probably not, because it would be a lot of development time, and maybe a lot of players would get tired of climbing up all these different areas, and so maybe it wouldn't work. But I would say one of the biggest flaws of Dark Souls second half is that it doesn't have that interconnected feel of the world that the first half did. So I think that would be really good. It could be that after you kill Lost Izalith, after you kill the Witch of sorry, Beta Chaos. It's not the Witch of Izalith. The Beta Chaos that causes some sort of eruption. There's a reaction to you killing that boss, or you kill another boss before that causes all the lava to recede, and that causes things to change up top in the world, and that causes a big change there, and that opens a bunch of paths. I think that could be kind of cool. I just think that it seems to me that Lost Izalith was meant to be a much more grand, much more important area than it was, and the fact that it's that large and has 3 bosses and it's just crammed with so many enemies makes me think that they had a big idea for that area, even though I think they outsourced it, and that they wanted to do more with it, and they just didn't. So they just threw a band-aid, put a band-aid on it by making it in its current state. Bed of Chaos obviously needs to be changed. It needs to be a proper boss. It's just awful. It's just not good. The fact that you can just throw deaths at it to do it, and your actions persist is a kind of a cool twist on the death mechanic in Dark Souls. But it's, again, like most things in that game that persist through death, it seems to me that they couldn't balance it, so that was just their fix, quick and dirty fix. Just let that function like that. I don't know. What if there's a better way to do that? Maybe it should only link to certain areas. I thought it was, the first time I played it, I thought it was going to link to the Tomb of the Giants, because you can see it, right? When you get down there, you can see it in the background, and I thought for sure there was going to be an area that linked down to it, and there do seem to be paths that are in Lost Izalith that go nowhere. There's one that leads out from Lost Izalith proper that has one of those headless demon titanite guys, dispensers, and I think behind that is where you can find Solaire, right? I think that was kind of, when I first got there and I went down there, I thought, oh wow, is this going to lead back up to the top or to some other area? And it didn't. So yeah, I think the potential is definitely there. I think that would be pretty cool. So if you could find a way to get Lost Izalith linked to Duke's Archives, Tomb of Giants, and to somehow, I don't know how you could do it, New Londo, I think maybe that you could that could be pretty cool. Does anyone chat have any ideas for what they could do with it? Oh, Nick's here. Nick, someone was asking what your Twitter handle was earlier, and I didn't know it off the top of my head, so you might want to type it in chat. Maybe someone else did and I missed it. I can't type at the moment. I couldn't look it up. I only have one monitor, unfortunately. Just remove it from the game. I don't know. I like the descent to Lost Izalith. I like everything that happens after Quelaag's domain. That big area with all the Taurus demons and the Capra demons, and the Fire Sage is all right. The Centipede's all right. They're not awful bosses. They're okay. Beta Chaos is terrible. I think there's some merit to them. I think if you just removed it from the game, I think Dark Souls would be overall weaker. Not by much, but I think it would be weaker. There's a feeling when the first time you play Dark Souls, if it's your first Souls game, that I think most players are going to think around the time that they get to Lost Izalith, or if they go there sooner, Duke's Archives or anything like that, where they think, holy shit, this is still going? Now you play it and the game's actually quite short if you know where to go and you know what you're doing, but that's every game really, right? But I think that's a really strong feeling when you're playing that game for the first time, like holy fuck, there's still more, yeah. And I think removing that would be would make the game a lesser experience. Has anyone in chat been asking a question that I've missed a lot and would like to ask it now before we continue with Patreon?
Someone was asking about the kids. What would be different with repeat the question. I can't remember right now. It was about the kids. At first, you asked something about being near the coast, and then you were asking about how things would be different than it was for us growing up.
I think they're gonna have to ask the question again.
We something.
Yeah.
I don't remember the end part. A wee something.
Any for Prez asks, what are the viewing numbers on the highlights compared to the streams themselves? On YouTube, the highlights get more views than the streams usually. Yeah. They're more they draw on more numbers than the streams, but it's hard to tell for the God of War highlights because the channel had been kind of inactive for a while because of the move, so it probably wasn't fair for that going up. But no, they're pretty popular, and everyone who watches them seems to really enjoy them. So it has the potential to go. Yeah. I think the Celeste highlights got more views right away. I'd have to go back and check, because I think the channel was more active at the time. Eventually, I don't know if there's going to be maybe a highlight of the highlights that we could do once a year, and that can go on the main channel. But depending on how YouTube's algorithm and all that shit works, I don't know if highlights could ever regularly go on the main channel, which is a shame because I think they would go down well. It's like a really really long donkey style video, right? That's how they feel to me, and I think people would enjoy them on the main channel. But if they don't, then it could really really kill that channel, which is a shame, really.
My birthday was low key. It was good though. I was unpacking most of it, and there were nachos involved that didn't reheat very well, so that was kind of a disappointment. But there is still half a red velvet cupcake in the fridge, so. It's the birthday that keeps on giving. The question was, how do you think the new environment will change how the kids grow up compared to you being near the coast in a smaller city, etc.? And I just want to say goodnight to Duplex Flavo, who said it did help their day get a little bit better, and they're heading out now, and I hope tomorrow is better for you.
Thank you. I hope tomorrow is better too. And if you're going to sleep, sleep well.
So yeah, how do you think the new environment will change for the kids? How it was, different for us?
Well, I've moved around a lot, so I was never like stable in Toronto. So I grew up in Cardiff, in Toronto, back to Cardiff, back to Toronto, that sort of thing, in an apartment, in a house, in an apartment, in a house, back and forth. I don't know. This city is probably around the same size as Cardiff. Maybe it's even a little bigger. I don't think it'll be that different, but we're not planning to stay here for ever, I don't think. So I don't know where we're gonna move, if we're gonna move back to Toronto or if we're gonna go somewhere else, right? We'll hopefully have to
travel a little bit and see if there's somewhere that we, preferably within Canada, that we would like to. We've never been to Montreal. We've never been to Vancouver. There's other cities that we could look at if we have more money down the road, that we don't have to stay here, because it's okay here, but we don't love it.
Goddamn cows on the road. Sorry, that was an intentional crash. Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna stay here. And also, the big one would be what kind of school they go to, right? And for at least for the first few years, we want to homeschool them. So that's not going to be much of an issue, really, or much of a factor. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that different. I don't know. We haven't really thought about that much.
Which?
What,
homeschool?
No, the difference between them growing up in Moncton compared to what it was like back in Toronto. Yeah, not sure.
We're not near the coast here though. We're we have a very dirty river, but that's about as watery as it gets here. But we would have to probably drive either down to St. John or a little bit. You said there was a beach north of here or something, wasn't there? I can't remember what you said.
Northeast of here, yeah.
But we don't drive yet, so it's kind of far for us to go. I'm hoping they'll pick up some French, if anything. Like it's very bilingual here, so either whether they start school at a younger age while we're here, or whether they meet somebody, which we haven't really met anybody while we've been here. So I don't know if that will happen, but even in like a swimming lesson, or I would like to put them in some kind of extracurricular thing soon, probably before we move. So Maybe they'll learn some French or something while we're here, if anything.
Cambrian Kangaroo says, you lived in Cardiff. I'm going to be in Wales for 2 weeks in August. Any suggestions of what to do? Don't. Go somewhere else. No, I don't. I wasn't there as an adult, so I can't really answer that question. Sorry. If you drink, you might want to look at some local pubs. That could be interesting. If you're going to be in Cardiff and the Swansea area, there's going to be, some stuff to do. A lot of TVs and movies, I think. I'm not sure about movies, but a lot of TVs are filmed in Cardiff, so you might find that interesting. If you like Doctor Who or anything like that, those are filmed in Cardiff. There might be something to do with that you might find fun. But yeah, I can't really answer it. Sorry. A lot of the countryside is very beautiful if you get north of Cardiff and Swansea. Yeah, but I don't really know much about it. Sorry. I'm kind of a hermit. Even if you asked me what's some good things to do in Toronto, I would probably struggle. I just mostly keep to myself. I'm kind of boring. Lily and I just do our own thing, really. Go to the movies, that sort of thing. And now we don't even do that because we have the goblins. So you can't take goblins to the movies yet.
From what I heard from a friend that lived in New Brunswick, the French there is even more than in Quebec, a French-English abomination hybrid that will hit anybody's sanity. I was going to say something and I can't remember what it was now. What's some good things to do in Toronto? Go to the CN Tower. I never went.
I went. I enjoyed the CN Tower.
I always wanted to go. There's a glass floor, and I'm afraid of heights, and I always thought it would be cool to, if I could do that, without freaking out, then that would be great. There's some museums and art galleries. There's the lake. There's some amusement park type things like Center Island. In the summer, there's the CNE. There's a lot to do in Toronto. We didn't do enough, I don't think, really. We probably could have gone out and taken advantage a little bit more of while we lived there.
We could never afford it, really.
We couldn't afford it.
I wonder if we would have hermited it up as much as we did if we'd had money. I don't know. Maybe.
Let's be honest, if we're sitting here late at night listening to some couple answer our video game questions, they're probably boring.
Hermit D. Frog here.
I might be in Canada sometime next year, Nick says.
Oh yeah? If you're in Moncton, we'll go get some poutine. Poutine.
Okay, let's thank a few people because I'm like an hour behind.
Okay, and then we'll go with Patreon.
Thank you to Haltfire who subscribed with Prime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Mad Nuggets who resubscribed for 3 months and says you're the best. Senpai or senpai?
Senpai.
Senpai.
Thank you.
Thank you to Ralph Clubs who used 200 bits and says she had to. She was so full of shit. Cheers, Joe. I hate people like that.
It was the doctor, right? Yeah.
Thank you to T just TT. Is that how it is?
Yep.
Who resubscribed with Prime for 9 months and says 9 months. What should we name our Twitch baby?
Ooh, waffles.
Thank you to Jumping Bones who resubscribed for 8 months and says finger broke through TP.
Ugh. That's not good.
Doesn't sound good.
Like, is that just happened to you right now while you're? Keep us updated. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you to. Wow. I'm gonna say this wrong because I don't even know. QWERTY Euro Pass FGHJKZ.
Yeah, at a certain point, it's just a bunch of letters. Yeah.
Who resubscribed with Prime for 5 months and says wholesome advice time.
Is that what?
Lily streams always are.
Yep. That's okay.
Lily brings the sunlight.
There's a delay for me saying thank you, right? Yeah. Okay.
Well, these were an hour ago. These are when we were having our depression talk.
Red car just almost crashed into us. What are you doing, Red car? How fast is he going? I'm 10 kilometers an hour the speed. Look at this guy. He's selling drugs.
If you start selling some Buy My Fucking Statues, I'll continue to renew my subscription. Thank you to Smitty, who used 450 bits and says, these are all the bits I have on hand. Gotta get some sleep. Have a good night. Well, good night an hour ago now if you watched the VOD. Sorry we missed you.
Thanks, Smitty. Yeah, sorry that we didn't see it.
Thank you to Coffee Jake, who subscribed with Prime. Thank you to JCLL, who resubscribed with Prime for 7 months.
Thank you very much to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you to Xalfenko, who resubscribed with Prime for 4 months and says good morning.
Good morning. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you to HellPuppy95, who used 100 bits and says, you are a dragon, Joe, so your kids will be kobolds, not goblins. Get your deep lore right.
Called oot.
And thank you to Manifest Manatee, who subscribed with Prime.
Thank you. Manifest Manatee.
Okay, this one is the longer questions.
Oh boy. Okay.
But
that's okay. Long questions can be fun.
But Xfia, okay, which is kind of a cool name, by the way.
All right.
Hello, Lily and Joe.
Hello.
This is the first Q&A I've participated in.
Ooh, with some long questions. That's good.
Okay.
All right.
So it's fair is fair. I've really enjoyed the VODs
Time
for
to
these.
Bust out the bongos.
Get ready for this, okay? I've really enjoyed the VODs for these. I try to ration them out by only listening to them during my commute to school. They really give me something to look forward to in the morning. Unfortunately, I've recently exhausted the supply of all the previous Q&A VODs, and now I have to settle for legitimate podcasts instead.
I'm sorry. Well, we waffled so much during this one that you have some new material now.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of material. The rambles. Questions. What writing advice would you give to someone who has never enjoyed writing or storytelling? I know the textbook method to improve at writing is just to practice by writing regularly, but to me this feels like the English class equivalent of being told to get good. I've always envied how concise and articulate some people can be, but again, I'm sure those abilities simply come with practice.
I don't think anyone would ever call me concise. I think that I'm a bit long-winded, but not as much as many people say. Usually I have multiple points, and that's why I don't consider anything that I do to be essays that are only supposed to have 1 point, you know? So
some of the writing you did, though, like Monster Slayer and stuff, you got more concise as you went in terms of tone. So you do have potential to be brief. You just aren't.
I think it's my style to be a little on the longer side. I like that. I don't think all writing should be the same, you know? I don't think everything should follow the same style. I think it's a big flaw in a lot of writing in the last century that, you know, the best way to be a writer was to sound like an old stuffy Englishman, you know? I think there's a lot of stories that are going to be lesser for it forever because they were written in that this is the proper style and you must be like this, you know?
No, there's lots of different styles.
But anyway, so it's going to depend on what you want to do. Why do you want to be a storyteller? Why do you want to be a better writer? Do you want to write stories and sell them? You know, do you want to make money as a writer? Is that something you've always wanted to do? And you, because I know a lot of people have that in them, even though they've never written before. If that's the case, then my advice to you is to just not, because if you don't have it bursting out of you, it's just not worth it. If you are going to be a writer because you just want to write stories because you just want to write them for your own amusement or for the amusement of others that you know and you're going to share your stories to a small group of people, okay, then that's definitely worth it. But if your goal is to make money and you are asking me this question, then my answer to you is, unfortunately, don't bother. Do something else instead. Follow something that you're already passionate about, because it's harder than ever right now to make money through writing. If you just want to be more articulate, if you just want to be a better at communicating with other people, that's a different sort of writing than it is for, you know, writing fiction or writing arguments. Although the basis of all conversations are really a series of arguments and points. I want to say this. What's the best way to say it? How do I support my points? That sort of thing. The best class that I ever took for that was not a creative writing class or an English class. It was actually a philosophy class that taught the fundamentals of logic, and what is a bad argument, what's a sound argument. You know, there's a construction of arguments there, which is that you have a statement and then you support it, and the first thing you have to look at is does the second statement support the first one, you know. And there's a way to break things down and identify them, and to see if they do follow, if the argument is sound. There were examples that I can't remember right now, but there's probably ones that you can find very easily on Google. You know what I mean? I think there was one that was the moon looks like cheese, therefore the moon is made of cheese. And that was an example of an argument that it does support. There is some support there. Those statements do link, but it's not sound. It's not a correct argument because there's not enough information. But it's better than saying the ocean is made of water, therefore the moon is made of cheese. You know what I mean? Like that is a weaker argument than the moon looks like cheese, therefore the moon is cheese. So there's that kind of basis, which sounds really stupid when you first learn it, but learning all that stuff was invaluable to me. You know, it was very, very important. So if that's what you want to, if that's your goal, then you might want to look into stuff like that and argument construction. For writing, unfortunately, you are correct. It's just practice. You need to read as much as possible, and you need to write as much as possible.
And read.
Yeah.
I find that I was actually reading back the book that I'm writing now. I haven't touched it in months now, especially with the move and everything. And I read it back today, and I can actually see with the writing how I've kind of gotten stylistic stuff out of other books that I've read. I can kind of see where I picked things up, where I used certain words, and I was reading it back and going, oh, this is decent, this is okay, I can pick up from here, I can go with this. You know, it's not as, you know, you never want to read it back and go, this was shit, I have to start all over again. But I really did see where I was.
It happens.
Where I was.
Yeah.
It does happen, but you never want that to happen.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I wouldn't want to read it back. And I was pleased with what I read, and that, again, probably because of where I got it from, right? That I'm kind of emulating other writers that I enjoy their books. So if you don't want to write and going to be forced to write to practice, maybe try reading more and maybe getting inspired a little bit by what you're reading, and seeing what you like about it and seeing what you don't like about what you're reading, and seeing what you can kind of take away from it and use yourself. Because I've spoken to quite a few people that get lots of ideas, you know, and they want to write. They have these ideas, they have the story in their head, but they can't get it out, and they get very frustrated with, you know, they can't get beyond the idea, they can't tell the actual story. So maybe reading other people tell their stories, or even listening to audiobooks or something, if that's not your thing, like, you know, kind of try and copy them a little bit, you know. You don't have to copy the whole thing, but, you know, take something from this one, and maybe you like Stephen King, you want to take something from him, you like Anne Rice, you want to take something from her, you like John Irving, you want to take something from him, that kind of thing, and just kind of put your own spin on it.
You have to look at the reality of our world is that unless there's some new discovery, which, you know, I would say computers are a relatively new discovery, and there was a lot of, you know, work that needs to be pioneered, and there are definitely things like that going on in the world right now, but the chances of anyone like listening to me that is going to be in that sort of field is very, 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 very low. The reality is that, you know, everything has been done before. Now, that does not mean that you can't do anything new. I think a lot of people misunderstand that, or they misuse it when they say that sort of thing. But if you were to learn how to cook, I'm going to say that because it's a food analogy, and that always makes me laugh because it's become a meme, but also because everyone eats, okay? Everyone eats. If you wanted to learn how to cook, you would be a fucking idiot if you just went out and bought all the ingredients you could find, ignored every single cookbook, ignored every single recipe, went into the kitchen and just tried to make shit on your own. Because not only would you waste so much resources and so much money, you'd also be wasting your time, because there are things that have already been discovered and already have been accepted as true. Now, that doesn't mean you can't, buck tradition and experiment, but, why on earth would you waste your time discovering things that have already been set as close to objective fact as you possibly can? You should learn as much as you possibly can from cookbooks, from recipes, and then spend the time experimenting and learning and discovering and adding to that knowledge. There's a really good visual that's said about what it's like when you picture a circle and you are in the middle of the circle. So like picture a circle on a piece of paper and you're a dot in the middle. And learning in any subject is like a line extending from the middle of the circle to the edge of the circle. And that's you going from, first introduction with the subject to getting your master's. And once you get your master's, you have completed the line and you have gained most of the knowledge that we already know about the subject. And then you, as that line, push the circle out a little bit with your new discoveries and your new knowledge, and then the next person that's behind you has a little longer to get to the edge of the circle, and hopefully education becomes more efficient and you are getting it doesn't take longer because you're a new discovery, and that's what that it should be. And the same goes for writing. The same goes for learning how to communicate. There have been discoveries that have been made beforehand, techniques, and if you're going to sit there and try and learn them yourself, would you? Probably. You'd probably get there, but why not benefit from other people having already done it and spend all that time that you could have used learning things to learn something that's completely new, or your own style and your own twist on things. So yeah, read as much as you possibly can. Every single time you read, it should be this opportunity to harvest things. I like that word, harvest. Not just techniques, but also words. If you ever read a book and you do not know what a word means, like, chances are you have internet access on your phone, or you have Wi-Fi where you are, or whatever. If in the worst case, pull out your phone and just text the word to yourself, and then later on look it up in the dictionary. There's no shame in doing that. And another piece of tangible advice I would give is that don't be afraid to question anything that you see in a book, even if it's a classic, even if it's Great Expectations. If there's anything you read and makes you make a sound like Scooby-Doo, what? If you don't understand something, don't just assume that it's because you're an idiot and this great classic book must obviously be flawless, because that's not the case. There have been mistakes in books that have been published and republished in different editions, and sometimes these mistakes are added because they weren't copied over properly. Sometimes editions, there's a shitty editor that decided to slip some changes in, against the author's wishes. Maybe the author's even dead. There's always question it and don't just blindly follow it, and maybe it's worth investigating, and maybe you find out that it does make sense, but you don't even agree with it. You don't like it. You can disagree with some of the best authors that there are. I don't like the way he did this, even though this is one of the best books ever written. That's fine. I guarantee you, the best book ever written, someone out there hates it, and they're right to hate it. It's no masterpiece. Yeah. So
plan well
when it comes to writing.
If you're going to tell a story, plan well. I find the more that you plan, and the more that you know your characters, and the more that you know what's going to happen, you really kind of set yourself up for it. It's a lot easier to actually do the writing part of it, because you know exactly where you're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm the type where I can't plan everything as much as Joe does, because I get bored once I know the ending to everything, and I know every scene, and I know every chapter, and I know how it ends, and like I need to leave myself a few loose ends so that I don't get completely bored with it, with how I write. That's for me. That's what works for me. It might work for you that way. You might be more like Joe. Joe is more of a plans everything and has keywords he wants to use, and I want to slip this line in there somewhere, and to that extent he plans, and that's what works for him. But I just found having little blurbs even about my characters, about why they are the way they are, a theme I wanted to talk about, a certain image I wanted to put in there, that kind of thing really opened it up for me and made it a lot easier for me to actually sit down and write a paragraph. And if you write enough paragraphs, then there's your story, right? So you just break it down.
Well, it's gonna depend again. What's the goal, right? And we don't know the goal, but yeah, that's if they want to write stories, definitely. I guess they did say storytelling. I think that everyone is a storyteller, really. And I know that sounds so fucking trite, but everyone, just even if you want to tell some dumb story, what happened to you when you went to the grocery store that day. I think everyone could be a storyteller if they wanted to, and it's in everyone to discover. I think it might not be like your livelihood, but I think it can be there. I think so anyway. I hope that's good enough advice. It's such a broad topic. I don't know what else to say. If you ask some questions next time and you want to ask something more specific, I think I could probably give you more specifics.
There's more questions I think related to it. I think that
okay.
This is the only one.
I also have spoken about writing in previous Q&A streams and also the written version as well. Yeah.
They're here, just to be more articulate and efficient in communication.
Okay, then I would definitely look into argument construction then, that sort of thing. Yeah, for sure. I think that you get the most benefit out of that. Not just for communicating on your end, but also listening, identifying what the other person means. And I think that no one should ever be afraid to just look at someone when they say something and say, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no shame in saying, I don't know, right? That's not an admission of, I lack the intelligence to understand. It's just maybe they're not communicating properly, and you shouldn't just assume that you do understand if there's a little sliver of doubt, because then the conversation is not going to be very productive. Before we get into the next one, should I buy my own truck? How do I buy my own truck, chat? Can I purchase truck? Where should I purchase it from? I have 65,000.
Yeah, Christical, they're on Amazon. Joe and my books are both there. They're both Kindle editions only. They're not actual books. They're electronic. And yeah, they're under Lily Evans. Lily with an I, Lili Evans. They're murder mysteries. I have 2 novels there.
Take a loan and then buy a Volvo. All right, I'm buying a Volvo.
Thank you to Drosophila. He used 100 bits and says, I must go now. My bedtime approaches. Good night. It was like 14 minutes ago. But
All right, Yusuke. Sleep well. Sleep well. What was the next question?
Related to question 1, advice on improving developing work ethic.
Oh, okay. This has been asked before, and I gave the same joke answer immediately, and I'm going to say it's the same again because it's not really a joke. Have a kid. That's what did it for me, and I'm not recommending you have a kid because that's just not a good idea unless you really want a kid. But I'm just telling you that's what did it for me.
Fire into your ass.
That's what did it for me. So I was a chronic. I have to say this very carefully because I might say the wrong word. A chronic procrastinator, not another word that sounds like it. A chronic procrastinator throughout my entire life, and I did very well in school, but that kind of made me complacent, and I didn't really push myself very much. And for a while, I think I blamed my parents a lot for that, but I don't think it was really their fault. It was mostly my own fault. I used to, I get a project and they would say, this project has 3 months to do it, or 3 weeks to do it. And I'm giving you 3 weeks because, it requires time to do research and everything. You can't do it on the night before. And I would say, yeah, okay, we'll see. And I would do it all night before, and I would usually get a B or an A. I would still get through it, and it would be a really bad night. And the first couple times it was a bit difficult, but then it got a little easier, and then it got harder. And it would be, okay, well, this time you have 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months. And then it was university time, and it was like, okay, well, now you have very little time to do these projects. And I kind of felt like I was lucky that I'd done this in my life, because now I had very little time to do many essays, and I felt like all my time before that with procrastinating had prepared me for it, because now I could do these big projects in a very little amount of time, compared to these people that went through high school that may have probably used all the time they had and were used to that, and they were like, oh my god, I used to have 3 months to do one essay, and now I only have a week to do one, and yeah. So I think that kind of worked out for me, but it also made me quite lazy. And school never really challenged me very much. And I know how that sounds. It makes me sound like an egotistical dick, but it really didn't. And going back, I wish I had challenged myself more, but really I just wasted a lot of time playing video games, and I got really into video games, and probably borderline addicted to video games quite often. And and then I would get really enthralled with, obsessively involved with like some friend groups, or some girlfriend or something like that, and it would be, I would just dive into these different things. And I look back in my life and I don't see a lot of balance. I see someone that is probably very susceptible to addiction, and that's not good. It worked out for me, but it shouldn't have. And there was some some bad luck involved with moving back to Canada, and what happened with my parents that I won't get into right now. But yeah, I see someone that didn't really build a very good work ethic. And I think that's still the case now. I think, look, I work very, 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 very hard. It may not seem like that right now because you just went through this move and there hasn't been many race streams and videos. But before that, I think the amount of content that I was putting out compared to a lot of other YouTubers and a lot of streamers speaks for itself. It slowed down a bit when Leo was born, but I think that's understandable. And I don't think even though that is a lot of product, that's not from a good work ethic. That's me probably still being addicted to work, and just constantly feeling the need that I need to be doing it. I don't think it is healthy, and I'm probably going to dive right back into it. And unfortunately, that's the only way I know how to do it. And I don't think I have the luxury of changing that right now. I just don't think so. I'm probably extremely lucky that I never tried marijuana or cocaine or heroin or anything like that. Probably extremely lucky. I'm also probably extremely lucky that I never tried to smoke, and that I do not like the taste of alcohol. Because if I did, I would probably be a very different person right now. I don't think I'd be dead, but I think I'd be a very different person right now. I can tell you that you can set alarms, you can set aside work hours. There have been times in my life where that has worked for me. The sleep disorder that I have makes it difficult to keep a schedule, but a schedule can work for a lot of people. When the stars do align and I'm on a good schedule, usually that does help me keep focus and keep a structured work time. But discipline is not a word I would use to describe myself at all. I'm not disciplined at all. I would say driven, but I'm probably driven for the wrong reasons, and it's I get excited that something's working and I just dive too far into it, just both feet first, just right in. And if it hadn't worked out, there would probably be a very different person sitting here right now, and that's scary. I think about it a lot. But at the same time, I don't think I've ever been destructive. I don't know. I don't think I can help you. I'm sorry. I really don't. Would you agree with what I'm saying, Lily? Is that the impression you got from me?
Oh yes, and we've had this conversation several times, and different settings and stuff, and not all at once, but it's come out in pieces. Yes. I write in spurts, so I'm not a great person to advise either. I will go months, weeks or months, and not touch a story, and then I will do nothing really but work on the story for weeks. I'll just get right back into it. I'll start to get this itch where I want to write. I can see the story clearly in my mind. I'll read a book, or I'll hear a song, or I'll watch a movie, or I'll see some other form of art that will inspire me, and suddenly I'm desperate. Like, I want to work on something. I make lists. Lists work for me more than anything else. I will break down a project into pieces, and then I will get sick joy out of crossing them off and being all like, look at me, I crossed off a whole bunch of stuff on my list. I was so productive, even though really I did like 3 things, but it looks like I did 8 things because of the way I broke it down. And, you know, whiteboards, markers, colorful pens, these things are your friend. That works for me, but the alarm thing never really did. But honestly, it's just if you can get inspired enough that you want to work on something, if there's anything that gives you that feeling like I just talked about, I just listened to the new Florence and the Machine CD, and suddenly now I want to write again. It happens every time. As soon as I hear something or I see something from somebody else, it gives me motivation. So I don't know if that will do anything for you. I don't know if you're a list person, or if you're an alarm person, or if
someone's saying your name. It's Lili, not Y. How do I sleep, chat? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm hearing noises. Is that coming from upstairs?
It is, but I think it's okay. I think it's just someone rolled over.
No. Oh.
Oh shit. Hey buddy, how did you get out of the room?
Finn's here.
Hi. Yeah. Hey buddy. How did you get out of the room without setting off all the traps? You ninja? Say hello. Say hello. You look shockingly awake. Like really awake. Look at him.
Hi. Did you sleep well? We haven't slept yet. Yeah, I wish I had something better that I could suggest too, because it would be great if I could use it myself, but that's what works for me, lists and trying to get inspired in any way I can. And everything Joe said is true about himself. And I don't know how much of that is the sleeping disorder that he has that makes him able to stay awake for really long hours. He doesn't do it as well as he used to, but he used to be able to stay awake for really long hours and just kind of binge things. I don't know how much that has to do with it. I don't know how much has to do with upbringing and the way he wasn't really maybe pushed enough. You know, I don't know how much is just him, you know? So it's really hard to say when you look at stuff like that. But yeah.
I'm not seeing the sleep prompt. Someone just said back off the icon. Okay, let's back out of the whole thing.
Finn, can you say chubby? Say chew. Say bee. Chubby. Say hippo.
Hippo, yeah, you're tired.
Finn's almost 3.
You're tired. Say 2. B. 2B. Try the bed icon on the map. Okay. Try the bed icon on the map. Someone said, why don't I take multiple weeks off between projects, because obviously my audience is okay with that. That's not the impression I get from my audience. In fact, I think that there are quite a few people that are quite angry at me right now because of the how long this took to move. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have a bad read on people. But I think a lot of patrons, oddly enough, because they're the ones that send me money, are okay with it, and they understand. And those I think that should be the people that get the priority when it comes to the work that I do and being healthy enough to continue it, because they're the ones that are the most invested. But at the same time, I've spoken about this before when it comes to what happened before the channel, which was the writing the books, and the books sold very, very well, and one day I woke up and they weren't selling anymore. Just it was really literally that overnight that changed, and our lives went from potentially getting a lot better to this is just dead right in the water, and I think that fear of something could change, especially when especially lately I wake up and there's all this news about YouTube changing the algorithm, ad apocalypse, platform might be completely dying, random Patreon shut down, that sort of thing. For a long time that made me really, really scared, and I kept waking up every morning expecting the channel to be completely gone, because of what happened to the books. And having the kids made me want to not squander the opportunity again, because I always thought if I had just written faster and I had written more books, maybe I could have made enough money that I could have survived that change on Amazon, or maybe my audience would have been big enough that I could have survived it, because Amazon, basically what Amazon did was they stopped promoting self-published writers. So that was a big thing too, and maybe I need to get over that, but I don't know if I'm going to get over it anytime soon. But also because of this gap, I feel like I owe you guys and myself as well the work, the videos, and the streams. I really enjoy making the videos. I love my job. And I want to get back into it as hard as I can. And there's pressure, but I think it mostly comes from myself. But I don't know if it's sustainable in the long term. I don't know how it's going to go after this. But right now I'm excited, and I really want to work as hard as possible. I want to get back to it. And I'm hoping that that's probably going to start tomorrow or the next day, as soon as the Q&A is completely done and I can move everything upstairs afterwards, which might be cut short because Finn's here now, right? And I have to put him back to bed. Yeah, I don't know. How am I sleeping right now? It says next rest stop in 53 minutes. I don't understand. There's probably something simple on the UI that I'm missing. Is there a place to park in here that I need to do? Oh, there we go. Okay. I guess I wasn't parked. There we go. Oh, crap. I hit enter again. Whoops. I don't know. Sorry, if you sense any reluctance in my voice when I'm explaining this thing, it's that I don't want to discuss these sort of things with people that are primarily sending me money, because I don't want to come across as, please send me more money. This is a very bad attitude to have in the world that we live in, but I'll say it anyway, even though it might be a big mistake. I think I make enough money. I don't need more money. There are things that I could use more money for. The highlights that we're doing now. I can make more content, like branching out like that. I eventually would like to make a video game. That sort of thing. There's definitely things I could use it for, but I don't need more money. You know what I mean? But I also want to be honest, and that makes it difficult. But to loop it all wrap around to your question, I'm very sorry that I can't give you any advice. I know it may sound kind of dumb because from the outside I'm successful, right? I'm very successful, you know. Like I don't know why I'm hesitating to even say that, but yeah, I did. Like I made something of a name for myself. It's very, very low tier internet famous, very low tier, but it's still there, right? I should have advice for you, but I really don't. I feel like my attitude toward work is not very healthy. I'm not disciplined at all. I just dive too hard into projects and I just missed that turn, and it's not a good way of doing things, unfortunately. But I do know that for most people that the best way to do it is to have schedules, to set boundaries for themselves, to set goals, and to not overwork themselves. But hey, on the off chance that you're like me, as much as this may be very irresponsible of me to say this, we're living in this house right now, and if I hadn't worked as hard as I possibly could have and really pushed myself, I don't think we'd be here. So as much as it might have been or could have led to damage, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't go back and do anything differently. If I could do my whole life over, maybe I would try and cultivate something earlier on, but if I had to go back to the start of the channel and do it differently, I don't think I would. I think I would continue on the way I did it. Is it backseating to tell me to put my lights on? No, you can backseat here. It's fine. I'm not really reading chat that much because I'm reading chat off a tablet and it's hard to see. Set your GPS to a closer job, but I've never driven on those roads up there before, and I want to see those roads. I'm okay with wasting time and not playing efficiently. This is just background stuff as we're talking. So I'm okay that this is a long drive. That might actually be preferable. I just hope I have enough money to get there. Is it 12 hours away real time? No, it's not. The minutes are going down much faster. Okay. Country road, take me home. Anything else to add, Lily? No? That's okay.
I don't think so. I wish I could say something useful, you know, that would be more helpful. But again, the way I write is not the way you're supposed to write, you know? Like you're supposed to be writing every day, and you're supposed to be reading all the time, and you're supposed to be practicing, and I don't, you know? So I go through phases where I get really into it, and then it's like video games. I'll play a game and I'll play it for 2 weeks and I'll be really enjoying it, and then I'll miss a night, and then once I miss that one night, that's it. Or exercise, I'll miss a night or two, and that's it. You know, I fall off the wagon. Like it's just that's how it is. So maybe try and find a way to work around who you are. Instead of trying to be who you're not.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. If you're someone who's obsessive, maybe you should embrace that a little bit. There was a teacher that we both had in high school, actually. It's the class that we properly met in, and she said, even though I really don't like her anymore for a whole other story that I won't get into, she said, you know, if you are someone who procrastinates a lot, and you, no matter what, you can't break out of it, that instead of constantly struggling with a way to stop doing it, maybe you should just accept it, and you should find a way to make it work, and acknowledge that this is how you are, and this is how you're going to be, and that these projects are going to be done last minute, and maybe even in some sick way, maybe you can prepare yourself for it, you know. And I thought that was, at the time, I thought that was ridiculously destructive advice, and it's just, you know, justifying bad behavior. But maybe
you can't force certain things just, that's the way you work, you know, that's the way you do things, and you can try to change them, but you might go back and around in circles, and it just, you know, not really get anywhere, right? So if that's the case for you, then try and make it as easy on yourself as possible, and just try to set yourself up to be as successful and as productive as you can. But don't be so hard on yourself, you know, if that's just the way you are. You know, we all have our quirks and we all have our little ways that we do things that we're just set in our ways for, right? That we just can't really break out of. So what works for me might not work for you.
I have read that if you want your children not to be like that, that you should reward effort instead of results. And if you're young, I'm not directing at this at only the person who asked the question, but if anyone's listening, if you're young and you're here, and you are a person that is results oriented instead of effort oriented, I am results oriented, and I will never ever 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 be able to change that about myself.
I am too.
I will never ever ever be able to look at something that I've done that I am not happy with and think, well, I tried really really hard and that's what counts. I will never ever be able to do that. So and it's the same, and unfortunately it doesn't work the other way either. If I make something that I'm really really happy with and it didn't really take all that much effort, I'll look at it and I'll think it's like I lucked into it. It's an accident. I don't deserve this success. I don't deserve the credit for this. You know what I mean? So it's the worst thing, you know, to look at it and go, for me to be happy with something, I have to have labored on it like crazy, and it has to like be a banger. And that goes with everything, you know, videos, books, anything in my life, tests, you know, nowadays, but not before, you know.
You can also join writing groups and stuff too. Joe was in that kind of scene for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You would review people's work, or they would review his work. I'm just thinking in terms of when someone reads my work, I feel more inspired to work more. I want to produce something else that can be read as well. If people aren't reading my work, I'm less inclined to want to write. Maybe it's what's the word? It's self-serving, or what? That I like people to tell me if they thought it was good or they thought it was bad.
I think everyone's like that though.
But I like that.
Yeah.
I like people to give me feedback. I
like
to
it
know
too.
If the work I put into it did anything, if it paid off, did you relate to it? Were my characters any good? Was my dialogue good? Like, I wanted validation. Yeah.
Validation, yeah.
I like to be validated. I like getting on the scale and seeing that I'm down half a pound. It makes me want to go back on the bike. You know, like if I'm up a pound, it kind of works too, where then I get mad and I'm like, well, you know, screw this. Like, I'm just going to go twice as long today. I get mad. So in a way, it kind of works both ways. But if I didn't go on the scale, I probably wouldn't go on the bike. You know, like there's certain things you just have to find out how you think, and, you know, and how you work your way around these kinds of problems.
But I don't think it's results oriented is very bad. I don't recommend it, and I'm gonna try very hard to raise the sleeping boy in my arms right now, and the other one upstairs, and if we have other kids as well, to be more rewarding effort instead of results. And that's everything I've read about parenting, is that you should go with that, because you end up with a person who's kind of broken like me, who's if it doesn't matter how hard you try it, it's all about the results. Which is kind of backwards for a lot of our generation, I think. You know, it was always about, oh, you tried, here's the participation ribbon, and everyone's a winner, and that's not my experience at all.
Maybe that's why. Maybe too many were given out that it didn't mean that much.
Maybe, I don't know.
You want people to mean it more, to be more genuine about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think my way of doing it is healthy. Please do.
No,
please
it
do.
isn't.
Please.
I'm being honest. It's not healthy.
Yeah, please. I just wanted to make that clear to everyone.
You don't know how to take a break properly.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to think that I am encouraging the way that I do things. But if you are, you know, older, and you know you're the old dog that can't learn any other way, maybe you're even older than I am, then maybe it's something you just need to accept. And maybe you can embrace it and make it work somehow. And
if you're a teenager, maybe try a different way.
Yep, if you can. I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken in thinking that I can't change, but I really don't think I can. I think I would have done it by now, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's enough of this. I think. What's the next question?
It's about Bloodborne. Do Do you want to take him up, or do you want me to take him up?
No, he's kind of dozing and falling asleep. Let's answer this question and maybe the next one. I think maybe we have to call it because he's gonna cry when we put him back in bed. I think if you held him there, I think he might fall asleep in your arms.
I'll try. Do you think it's possible Bloodborne's world was originally planned to be fully interconnected and not use warping a la Dark Souls 1? This might explain why you can't warp between lamps in the weird vestigial shortcuts, like from the Peril Arena to Old Yarnum, and the unopenable door from Cleric Beast to Cathedral Ward. My theory is that Cathedral Ward, Upper Cathedral Ward, Central Yarnum, Old Yarnum, in the first half. Finn, what are you doing?
Sorry, I passed Finn over to Lily there and I didn't pause it.
Come here. What are you doing? You can't go down right now, okay? Sit in my lap a little bit. No, he just doesn't want to stay with me.
Pass him back. Come here, kiddo. Come here, kiddo. Come here.
Do you want to sit with Mama?
Do you want to sit? No? Do you want to go get to bed? Yeah? Get to bed? No? You sure? I think that you should.
My theory is that Cathedral Ward, Upper Cathedral Ward, Central Yarnum, Old Yarnum, and the first half of Yargul were created first. Then partway through development, From gave up on the idea, which is when the other dead end areas were added. Or maybe the dead ends were made because warping was planned as a mid-game unlock, maybe after Bergenworth. That would primarily serve as access to the Dream of Mensis and as a way to get back to Cathedral Ward after the sprawling forest area. This goes back to the chicken or the egg question mentioned in one of your Dark Souls 2 videos. I wonder if the primary purpose of the Lord Vessel was only to elegantly get the player back to Firelink after Anor Londo so they could access the catacombs and New Londo ruins, or was it because From felt like they ran out of physical space to keep tightly interconnecting the levels? To be honest, I haven't given this too much thought or examined the levels thoroughly to test if this makes sense. It's probably more likely From just added Bloodborne's useless connections between the levels opportunistically because the level geometry just happened to line up to try to recapture a hint of that Dark Souls 1 brand of awe. Sorry for that ramble of a non-question. I appreciate all the time you guys put into answering all of these questions every month. And then they wrote, hope the housing situation is going well and Joe's ear feels better by the time you're reading this, and then crossed it out. Congratulations for the successful move.
Wait, useless? Thank you for the well wishes about my ear. It's all better, and the move went well. Thank you. I think that for Dark Souls, I think that it's probably likely that that the Lord Vessel was only meant to be like an easy way to warp back after getting there. That's probably likely. The way that I understand game development more now, having learned a lot more about it since founding the channel, is that there's a lot of accidents, there's a lot of things that's thrown together, there's a lot of, this is a problem and we're so deep into development that we can't really research a really good solution to it. So what do we do? Is there anything that we can use right now? And I could see that they didn't plan the world interconnectivity out far enough, or maybe they realized after they got to Anor Londo that they needed more game and they added more to it. Maybe they thought things could be done in a different order, and suddenly they're like, okay, well, we can't expect the players to walk all the way back from here all the way to the beginning, so let's put a warp in. And then suddenly they're looking at other areas that are really far away from the starting area, and they think, well, we already gave them a warp, why don't we let them warp to other places? And that's when you can look at it and go, well, why can you only warp to certain bonfires? Why is it that you can't warp anywhere? And I think that was just the beginning of, well, let's let them warp to this area, that area, and that kind of sprawled out to, okay, now we can warp to a couple areas here and there. And that's just me guessing, but that seems about right to me. It also makes sense considering how interconnected the world is in the beginning, and then it's not anymore. They obviously didn't want you to be warping right away. For Bloodborne, I don't know. I don't see any of the same potential for interconnected levels in Bloodborne. There are some oddities that you brought up, definitely, and I think that that it's possible that that's what they wanted to do. But there's only really one that links back, and that's from the forest up to the beginning of the game, and the rest are just kind of not really all that great. There's no internet connectivity between other levels. The broken door, or the unused door that stays locked, isn't really that different. I could see that as, you could have gone through Cleric Beast instead of Father Gascoigne, instead of, and that could have been a choice early on, but I think at some point they realized that that's too important of a fight to let go for some reason. I'm not sure what the thought is there. Having a different first boss would have been interesting, I think. I don't know. I hate to say this because it's such a cynical outlook. I'm pretty positive on From overall, but I think that a lot of what they do is just they stumbled into a winning formula and they don't know how to recreate a lot of it. There's obviously a lot of plans, and there's some bits that get a lot of attention and a good amount of direction. I'm not sure how much of that is on Miyazaki. There's a lot in Dark Souls 2 that I enjoyed that Miyazaki had nothing to do with, as far as I understand it. And I don't know. I just think that that the interactivity wasn't really that planned in advance as everyone likes to think it is, and that if there was a lot of interconnectivity in Bloodborne, that it was just kind of stumbled into it, and it wasn't intentional either. I think that a lot of the development of these games, especially considering how quickly they made Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne, was just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And they have enough raw talent and a good enough director that they were able to make that work. And I think there's a lot to be said about that and a lot to commend about that process, but I think that's when you get some things that are just really strange when you really look at them, because all the games have these odd moments and these odd problems that you look at and go, how did that make it through? How did Lost Izalith make it through? I forgot about Demon Souls, didn't I? So there's even another game on the list. How did these things make it through? And you see all these experiments that don't really go anywhere and aren't expanded on. Like where's the expanded version of the bonfire? I can never say the word. It's not aesthetic. It's ascetic. But where's the exploration on the bonfire aesthetics? Where's the exploration on the interconnected world in Dark Souls 1? Where's the exploration on the hard mode that's in Dark Souls 2? Where's the exploration on Chalice Dungeons? You know what I mean? Like there's still no challenge runs in the game that allow you to do different builds and bosses. There's no boss rush, even though the bosses are something that people love and put a lot of work into. It's like I feel like they're very, very talented directors, but they're very, very talented developers, but at the same time there's something really, really bad about them. Like the games don't really run all that well. The visuals are really inconsistent. There's these weird graphical problems in a lot of them. Some bosses and hitboxes are just fucking awful. Sorry, kid. And just I love them so much, but they're so flawed in ways that I feel should be solved. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just quick development times and they're just throwing things together, but then that leads more strength to things being accidents when it comes to stuff like the interconnected world in Dark Souls 1. I don't know, the way that little thing, like Matthew Matosis pointed out, that Demon Souls lets you listen to the Maiden in Black's intro speech or dialogue as you're choosing the stats to level up, and he proposed that it was because Miyazaki was not in Dark Souls 2 that the Emerald Herald, you have to skip it through, and that was a pretty good point that he had there. It's a point that a lot of people would usually have missed. I think I would have missed it too. That the Maiden in Black solution is just so much better because you get to listen to it and enjoy it while you're selecting stats and everything, and you're not skipping through it. It's not an inconvenience. It's just, you get part of you starts to hate the Emerald Herald a little bit because you have to spam through this a little bit. But then you get to Dark Souls 3 and Miyazaki's back in the race car seat, and the driver's seat, and you have the character that I don't even remember her name, and it's the same problem as the Emerald Herald. So what's that all about? Why is that back there? Clearly it's not something about Miyazaki. Was it some other developer? Do they not care? And I think that just kind of sums up how haphazard their development process must be, and how rushed it all is, and how there's probably tons of little problems like that could have been solved and should have been solved, and or basically were solved already and they went back on it. I talked about the Estus system and kindling bonfires as the best healing system in the second game that they made in the series, really, and every single system after that has been worse. Why do they keep changing humanity to human effigies to embers? What's the point of that? Where's the consistency there? The lore is definitely not there as far as I'm concerned. So what's the idea? I don't know. I think that the developers simultaneously get too much credit and not enough credit. They get too much credit because I think that it's just chaos at the From Software house, just chaos, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria, and I think that they I hope he doesn't see us passing him in the wrong lane here. Hope he doesn't see us, but I also think that they don't get enough credit because they're in this system and they still make some absolutely phenomenal games. And imagine what they would be like if they had more time and they had maybe better leadership. I don't know if leadership's the problem. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with is it Sekiro? Is that how you pronounce it? I think it's safer to say Shadows Die Twice, right? Because this is, unless I'm mistaken and I'm missing something, this is the longest development time that one of their games has had, right? However, they're also doing 3 games at the moment, so maybe it's going to receive the same amount of game development time, even though it's more years between projects because they're splitting all their resources all over the place. Who knows? But I'm interested to see how good it is and how much it benefits from that extra time if it does it. And it's also breaking free of the shackles of Dark Souls and to some extent Bloodborne. It looks a lot different, but it's similar at the same time, but it looks a lot different. So I'm really interested to see what happens. And we'll see. I think it'll be really telling how successful this game is, and what their development process is like. So to give us a summary at the end to answer your question, no, I don't think there was any long-term or serious plans for it to be an interconnected world. They might have tried it or had lofty thoughts about it being that way at some point, but they went nowhere, and they weren't serious thoughts. I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to mute the microphone, and we're going to take a short break. I'm going to take Finn upstairs, and I'm going to lay him down, and I'm going to see if he falls asleep because he's falling asleep in my lap right now. How many questions do we have left?
We have like 9 people still.
9 people or 9 questions? Okay.
I don't think we're getting through this tonight.
Do you want to try and do a couple more, or do you just want to call it and start again tomorrow night?
Why don't you? I don't know.
Even if he falls asleep right away, even if I'm only up there for 5 minutes. Do you think that
we might be able to get through 1 or 2 more people?
Two more people?
And then we could definitely finish it next time.
Yeah.
Whereas we still might not finish it next time if we stop it right now, right?
Okay. Yeah, maybe we need to stop it and go another night, no matter what, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get it done in 1 more night, and it's not gonna be 2 more nights.
How long have we been streaming for?
3 hours.
3 hours and 16 minutes. Yeah, I usually go a little longer than that. So it's I don't know. What do you want to do? Are you tired?
Tired, but I'm not gonna go to sleep right away. I'm still off the tea, which is surprising actually. I thought I'd be more tired.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you want to just see what happens with him and?
No, I think it's
You wanna
safer to
just
call
call
it
it?
because I might be up there for half an hour. Like, you know what he's like sometimes. And I don't want him to feel like I'm rushing and I need to go back, and I don't want people to sit here looking at the truck just panning back and forth. That's not fair either. Okay, we're gonna call it, guys. Sorry that the kid woke up, and I'm sure you guys understand. So we'll continue tomorrow night if possible. I'll tweet it out, but if not, then we'll do it the night after. I think this is the first time we've been interrupted by kid, isn't it?
With this, yeah.
Yeah.
Just stop. Yeah.
Can you say bye-bye?
Bye.
Bye-bye. Say good night. Say bedtime. Na na na. Na na na. Say mama. Say dada. Say waffles. Sleepy boy. Alright.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Sorry for the short end. We'll see you tomorrow or the next day.